chosen one.
Call them dumps, big massive dumps.
Wrong.
All right, what's happening, guys? Welcome back to Blunt Politics. I'm Boston Brian. I really do appreciate you joining me. Make sure as you filter in, you do hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed, please check so. See if you are, and then, click the button if you're not. It's really, really easy. It's just one click. Doesn't hurt. Can't help. Can't hurt. Does help. What do you say we bring in the chat? What's going on, Gino? What's going on, Karen? What's up, Roxanne? Tons to talk about today. Unfortunately, it's just, as we do here in Blunt Politics, we're just sifting through the shit, just sifting through the mud. So grab your caffeine, grab your cocktails, grab your Chiba, grab all three if that's what you do. Sit back, relax, enjoy. And as we go through these stories that I've picked out, we try to do our best at getting everybody up to speed. Appreciate the mods, as always, for keeping that chat a safe place. And thank you to the best chat on the internet, which is the Blunt Politics crew, as you're seeing right here on the screen. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Jackie, Chris, Olga, Tiff, thank you so much for everything that you do. Appreciate you guys. What's up, Salty? What's going on, Flipper? What up, Roxanne? What's happening, guys? I appreciate you. What up, Salty? What's going on, everybody? Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch. You guys know the routine. Make sure you're hitting the respective buttons, whatever those buttons may be on that platform. Make sure you're hitting them. Just keep hitting them. Because it helps. Just lets that platform know that you're interacting with the show. It'll send it out to more people. I really do appreciate it. It is February 3rd, 2026. Let me see if I get this out of you. There we go. What's going on, guys? All right. Well, we're going to be talking about a lot of different things tonight. Obviously, the Tulsi Gabbard whistleblower scandal that's been hitting the news headlines recently. I want to dive into that a little bit. Obviously, some clips from the Grammys that I'm sure you guys have seen to some extent. I want to make sure that we're kind of highlighting people that are speaking up in places where, prominent places where a lot of eyeballs and a lot of attention are, because, that's really important today to keep that going. Obviously, we got some podcasts who hosted Trump jumping like rats from a sinking ship. Obviously, I'm talking about Andrew Schultz in this case, one of the many podcasts that hosted and had Donald Trump at the same time that he's going around and people are holding signs up that says mass deportation now. Yeah, that same people, along with others that had Donald Trump on the show that led to this situation. Now kind of backtracking. So we'll be taking a look at a couple instances of that. Obviously, there are some conservatives, or what we deem as conservatives on this side, still calling out these people. So we'll be diving into a familiar face that we use to kind of gauge the temperature as well. Voidzilla did a couple good videos. One just came out this morning, if I'm not mistaken, that kind of dissects to a certain extent what we do know from the latest tranche, the latest release of the Epstein files. Obviously, Nick Fuentes going full Jeffrey Epstein, which is a sight to behold. And I'm kind of curious when Nate from Valhalla, who we'll be diving into today a little bit, who says he's an America First and Nick Fuentes fan, is actually going to make that video calling out Nick Fuentes for the shit that he said recently. Because it seems like he's more than willing to call out Elon, more than willing to call out the right-wing media for covering it up, more than willing to even involve Donald Trump. But as far as calling out Nick Fuentes, who he says is kind of like the alternative now to Trump for people that are, quote unquote, America First, which is all horseshit. We've called it out before. But, it doesn't seem like he's calling out that as much as he's calling out the MAGA crew. And obviously, we got Trump wanting to end elections. So all of that and more to dive into today. So make sure you hit that like button again. This is Blunt Politics. I'm Boston Brian. I really do appreciate you joining me. There's a multitude of different ways you can contribute to the show. We get the self-promotional bullshit out of the way early. And then anybody that contributes during the show, we make sure to highlight and show our appreciation at the end of the show. So if you go through any lengths to contribute, if you hit a milestone in the chat, please stick around to the end. That way you get called out. The show of appreciation, you get highlighted. Everybody shows a little appreciation for your generosity. So please stick around. There's a Venmo up here in the corner. That's the quickest and most direct way, typically, to gift to a show. No YouTube taking anything. No YouTube holding it back for a certain extent of time. But then again, it doesn't matter. Any way you guys can contribute is more than helpful. So there's a patreon.com/Boston Brian. 3 great options, 3 great tiers on there. We'll be announcing the February Zoom dates. I had given them to Tiff earlier. I have to make up a couple graphics, and we'll be announcing those. What else we got? We got a YouTube membership just underneath me. You can sign up for that. That goes a long way in helping the channel and showing YouTube that you guys are interested to a point of becoming members. We're on our way to 20,000 subscribers and 1,000 members. So it's only with your help and generosity that we can get there. But what do you say we start off with this Tulsi Gabbard story that's been kind of hitting the airwaves to some extent? Let me see here. It's up here somewhere, right? Yeah, there we go. My apologies. I get so much pulled up for today. It's kind of hard. Everything gets lost in the sauce. But yeah, this is kind of just one of the many articles that are being written. This is by Newsweek here, covering the Tulsi Gabbard whistleblower complaints. Not only the complaints, but also the ongoing cover-up, which it looks like has been happening for quite some time, some months now, where she's required to pass this along to Congress, but she's kind of taking advantage of the fact that there's no timeline stipulated, to the best of my knowledge, as per like when she has to hand it over. So this is something that we've been talking about for a long time when it comes to Tulsi Gabbard and her involvement with Bashar al-Assad, Bashar al-Assad's involvement with Vladimir Putin, the outright Russian propaganda that's come out of Tulsi Gabbard's mouth. There's a few things that I had written down as far as Tulsi Gabbard. So not only the Syria Bashar al-Assad connection, but also puppeting the Russian propaganda. She blamed U.S. and NATO for provoking Russia when it came to the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. She amplified baseless propaganda about the biological research labs that was like prominent Russian propaganda at the beginning of the full-scale invasion. You haven't heard much of it, and that was actually parroted a lot by the Republicans, the conservatives in our country as well. So she also was highly featured on Russian state television. We all know where Assad ended up after the fall, the collapse of his regime in Syria, Russia. So, I mean, the connections are almost too much to, kind of ignore. Obviously, we were calling these out before she became DNI. And obviously the national security interest, which the Trump administration and Tulsi Gabbard continue to use as a crutch. They continue to use as an excuse, as a reason, as justification to hold back information, not give certain information, justification for certain actions that they're taking. It's all under the guise of, self-preservation. It's all under the guise of national security. And they're kind of holding back these details. They're holding back this whistleblower complaint while Tulsi Gabbard goes through the whole rigmarole of finding out through her lawyer just what action she can take. How long can she hold on to this before she has to pass it on to Congress? So let's dive into just a quick minute of this, just to kind of get the full story here, just to kind of get the overall picture of what's been taking place. U.S. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has been accused of wrongdoing by a whistleblower, but the complaint is so highly classified that it has so far been kept from Congress, the Wall Street Journal reported on Monday. Officials familiar with the matter told the outlet there had been ongoing wrangling behind the scenes over the complaint, which Gabbard herself has stonewalled, they claimed. One official said disclosing the document filed last May could cause grave damage to national security. So they're kind of using that as the crutch. Oh, we couldn't possibly hand over this whistleblower complaint because, the information detailed is clearly more harmful and more dangerous to our national security than having a fucking director of national intelligence directly linked with Bashar al-Assad and Vladimir Putin, willing to do the bidding of, the Russians, willing to be featured on Russian state television night after night after night because of the parroting of the Russian propaganda. Like are we going to not claim that's dangerous? Is that not dangerous to national security? Because what's in this whistleblower's complaint may go to help, may go to, again, prevent a national security, situation from taking place. So again, this is another crutch. They're using this again as a crutch to, to break the law, to not follow the rules, to go against guidelines, norms, and policies. When approached for comment by Newsweek, the DNI press secretary pointed to an earlier ex-post which stated this, quote, "There was absolutely no wrongdoing by DNI Gabbard. The fact that the Wall Street Journal conveniently buried 13 paragraphs down," Olivia Coleman posted Monday. Even the Biden-era Intelligence Community Inspector General came to this conclusion, determining that the whistleblower's allegations allegations against D&I Gabbard did not appear credible. Despite this, Monday saw calls for an investigation into Gabbard's actions surrounding the case. Quote, after nearly 8 months of taking illegal actions to protect herself, the time has come for Tulsi Gabbard to comply with the law and fully release the disclosures to Congress, whistleblower.org chief legal counsel Andrew Bakaj said. Why it matters as the person overseeing the United States intelligence agencies, Gabbard is no stranger to dealing with the matter of national security, but the reported complaint puts her at the center of the issue. The back and forth over what to do with the complaint has raised concerns about transparency, particularly when Congress is usually notified about serious complaints involving administration officials within a matter of weeks. And I've seen a lot of reporting suggesting that, like, when our intelligence agencies have kind of like, a complaint or, some sort of whistleblower issue, it's typically taken care of within 2 to 3 days, a week at the most. They try to typically hop on this stuff and make sure that it's not of a serious nature and a serious threat to our national security. And again, what bigger threat to our national security could there be than the fact that our fucking director of national intelligence could have direct ties to Vladimir Putin, Bashar al-Assad, not have the United States' best interest at heart? Whatever it may be, I find that to be a particular danger to the, again, self-interest and national security of the United States. And it's kind of the opposite of what we're seeing being said. No, they're more worried about keeping the whistleblower complaint hidden than they are releasing it and then kind of, coming clean and saying, hey, I have nothing to hide. I have no fucking involvement in this, which would be the path that you would think somebody that has nothing to hide would take. Right. So, again, I just want to make sure that we cover this to a certain extent, and, we'll see what comes from this and what Congress does, what action Congress takes in order to get the rightful information that they're entitled to. So we'll be sure to keep covering this on Blunt Politics. But let's dive into a couple of the clips from the Grammys, because, again, whatever you think about the Grammys, whatever you think about the people that we'll be, talking about here, and this is only 2 or 3 clips. I'm sure you've seen them prominently featured in different videos. But again, just in case people are, late to catch up, haven't seen it, don't watch that type of thing, I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. But we need to continue to highlight and promote and congratulate and appreciate and respect people that are willing to speak up on a national stage in front of cameras, with a microphone in your face, to whatever extent, whether that's out protesting in Minnesota, whether that's out protesting in Boston or Maine or LA or Chicago or New York, wherever it is, right? Or if you're, if you have some sort of social media presence and you're speaking out in that right, people should be applauded and congratulated for doing that. Make it so people want to get out there and speak out. Make it so that they feel like, oh, okay, I am being accepted. I'm not alone in this. There are people that will, stand behind me and fight alongside me when I speak up like this. So people like Trevor Noah, people like Bad Bunny, people like Billie Eilish, who, again, if you haven't seen the clips, use their platform, use their opportunity that they had where millions of eyeballs were going to be on them to speak out against the injustices that we've seen so far. And this is just one instance where Trevor Noah kind of took a shot at Donald Trump. And again, this is one of the clips from the Grammys the other night. So what do you say we take a look at this? And then again, it's Billie Eilish and Bad Bunny. I think Bad Bunny's next on the old Grammys list. So what do you say we take a look at this? And again, it's going to be, we'll talk about it after when we're looking at Bad Bunny, but it's going to be one hell of a halftime Super Bowl show. I can tell you that much. It's going to piss a lot of Republicans off. And again, I don't know if we'll have time to cover it, but Turning Points has just announced they're like, what do you call it? Like competing fucking programming that they're counter programming that they'll be putting on during the halftime show, which features like Kid Rock and Riley Gaines, I'm sure. I'm sure they'll have a lot of eyeballs on it. But let's listen to Trevor Noah and see what he had to say, because this really put a fucking bee in Donald Trump's bonnet, right? I mean, he's threatening lawsuits. He's throwing Trevor Noah in with fucking Don Lemon at this point. Like, he's going all out. He didn't like what was happening. Apparently, again, Donald Trump and a lot of conservatives and Republicans watching the entire show, watching all of the Grammys, because they were really well informed on what took place. I can tell you that much. All right, Trevor Noah at the Grammys.
Song of the Year. Congratulations, Billie Eilish. Wow. That is a Grammy that every artist wants, almost as much as Trump wants Greenland, which makes sense. I mean, because Epstein's island is gone, he needs a new one to hang out with Bill Clinton. So, I told you it's my last year. What are you going to do about it? Song.
And again, even slight jabs, slight references, as we've always said here on Blunt Politics, fascist, authoritarians, dictators, people that consider themselves alphas and strongmen, they hate being fucking ridiculed. They hate being mocked. They hate being embarrassed, right? They hate it. They can't stand it when they're proven wrong. So any instance like that that's going to invoke some sort of reaction that gets eyeballs and attention, and this is making its rounds through social media, through the nightly shows. So again, anything that's bringing attention and awareness to this is good, is something that we should applaud and appreciate. And again, Bad Bunny here, who is going to be featured and fucking lit. Oh boy, did that light a fire under MAGA's ass when he was announced as the performer for the Super Bowl halftime show coming up. And again, it's going to be fucking lit. I can't wait. I hope it's at this point. I hope that every American needs subtitles in order to see and fucking figure out what's going on at the halftime show. I really do. I hope it's all in the most heavily fucking linguistic Spanish you could possibly have, and the most deeply fucking hard to understand like at this point, just to piss off MAGA and the Republicans. But it's going to be lit. And again, this was his opportunity. This is how he used his opportunity when he was accepting his award at the Grammys, to speak up against the injustice. So what do you say we play this? Yeah, good point. Sorry. Just before Bad Bunny gets into it, Evie's Aunt on Twitch. Appreciate you, Evie's Aunt. Appreciate you, everybody on Twitch. Says, I can't wait to see Green Day. So Green Day, I think it was just recently announced, if I'm not mistaken, right? And I'm sure that's going to be a fucking another a burr in Donald Trump's saddle, right? Like that is just because they're known to speak up against injustice. I think they kind of changed the words around to one of their songs recently at a performance. They've been known for a long time for doing this type of thing. So this is nothing new, but this is just kind of, I think, the most recent thing that we could point back to. So they're going to be added, and I'm sure they're going to be using that platform, that time that they have to kind of speak up to a certain extent. And it's going to be interesting to see how Bad Bunny and Green Day and the rest of the performers, whoever's going to be performing, use that opportunity. And even Roger Goodell was questioned about Bad Bunny's comments. And I'll play it here. I'll let it go on, and then we'll talk about Roger Goodell being questioned on this.
Before I say thanks to God, I'm gonna say eyes out.
And again, I love not only that he used this time and opportunity to speak out like that, but obviously the reaction from the crowd to see how many people kind of were feeling the same thing, had the same emotions, were ready for people to kind of, again, speak out like this. And I didn't see any of it, so I apologize. I don't know if this was before or after Billie Eilish or, Trevor Noah's kind of comments like that. I would assume it's towards the end of the night, considering he's one of the biggest artists, and I'm sure this is one of the bigger awards, just knowing how these things go. But, good to see the reaction. Good to obviously see him using this platform in this instance to speak up like this. But again, he said, before I go on to thank God, because I know it's Twitter, and Twitter sucks as far as audio. Well, it sucks as far as everything, but the audio is particularly shit on this platform. So in case you didn't hear it, he did say before he goes on to thank God, he just wants to say ice out. And he continues. Standing ovation. And again, I know this is California. I know this is Hollywood. But again, to see that many people willing to stand up, for a standing ovation, clap, speak out, show their fucking displeasure with what's going on is a good sign, right? It's a good sign that people, and again, they had the odd, there was a couple of clips going around of the odd fucking, MAGA commentators or Republican women that weren't very happy with what was going on, and people are using the platform, but, they can stick that right up their ass too. All right, he continues to.
We're not savage, we're not animals, we're not aliens, we are humans, and we are Americans.
So he says, we're not savages, we're not animals, we're not aliens, we're humans, and we're Americans, right? And again, I believe he goes on to kind of repeat the same message in Spanish. But again, using the platform, using that time where obviously, clearly, a lot of eyeballs are going to be on it, a lot of tension is going to be on it, especially knowing how social media works nowadays. You get these viral clips and they spread like wildfire. And that's exactly what they've been doing, right? That's exactly what they've been doing. And again, I want to take the time to congratulate and applaud and show our appreciation for the people willing to speak out. And I'm not certain that this was all of them. Again, I'm just kind of digging up the the most prominently featured clips, but I'm sure there was, to a large extent, more people that kind of referenced the moment, referenced the need for change, referenced the need for speaking up and resistance at this moment. So again, I don't want to make it seem like I'm boiling it down to just these, but there's for the sake of time and just to kind of generalize to a certain extent. Here's Billie Eilish and what she had to say.
And as grateful as I feel, I honestly don't feel like I need to say anything, but
Just don't say anything about Iran because it's just not a cause we care about.
no one is
Well, obviously, I picked the wrong clip on that one. It seems like somebody had edited and altered that one. Let me see if I can find. I'll just type in Billie Eilish real quick. I don't want to disrespect. And again, I have no idea how to spell Eilish, so I'm going to take my shot at it. Shouldn't be too deep down there. I'm sure it was prominently featured. Let's see here. Video, media. Come on now. God, this platform is shit. I could make a full fucking breakfast before this thing fucking starts working right. Was it this one? Let me see.
that no one is illegal on stolen land. That no one is illegal on stolen land.
Oh, that's only a little clip of it. But she goes on to say, fuck ICE. She goes on to speak on it a little further, but I won't. Maybe this is a clip of it here.
No one is illegal on stolen land. And yeah, it's just really hard to know what to say and what to do right now. And I feel really hopeful in this room, and I feel like we just need to keep fighting and speaking up and protesting, and our voices really do matter, and the people matter. And I say sorry. Thank you. No one.
So again, clearly they bleeped out the fuck ICE point. We won't. We appreciate her speaking up. We appreciate everybody that did use that opportunity once again to speak up. Unlike people that didn't use their opportunity to speak up when they had the original opportunity, to not let this madman in office, kind of like, Andrew Schultz, who you're now looking at on your screen, just to give a little bit of a shitty segue into his fucking nonsense, what's going on recently. But yes, he's one of many, we could consider conservative, right-leaning podcasters, these kind of like, or, a lot of them are kind of detached. They like to consider themselves detached from politics altogether. And, they're just kind of calling it as they see it, as the alpha man that they are, all that nonsense and bullshit. Well, anyway, he's one of many that profiled and platformed Donald Trump before the last election, like Theo Vaughn. There's a bunch of them that he went on. We don't have to get into them. But, right now they're kind of, to a certain extent, and to a large extent, Andrew Schultz is like a rat jumping from a sinking ship. Right. So I don't know if it was the murder of Renee Nicole Good. I don't know if it was the murder of Alex Preddy. I don't know if it was the Epstein files or all three, or just, the overall actions of what ICE has been doing. But, something has kind of, spoken to Andrew in a way where he's now seeing the response to what's going on. And he's kind of saying, okay, I'm going to have to detach myself from this sooner than later. Okay, because I know that I platformed this. I know that I promoted this. I know that I'm partially responsible for this. So the sooner that I can pull a Dan Bongino and remove myself from the situation and make it seem like this isn't what I voted for, this isn't what I wanted. Again, at a time where I platformed Donald Trump, where people at his rallies were actively shouting, racist and bigoted things against immigrants as they're holding up signs that says mass deportations now. Now, knowing what we know about Donald Trump, again, above and beyond the whole sexually deviant, fucking monstrous nature of that fucking fraud, corrupt con man, right? Just the whole aspect of just his demeanor. Did we actually think that he was going to perpetrate this? He was going to pull this off if you did want mass deportations in, a way that would respect humanism in a respectful way to, just the people and humans in general? Because I think that was pretty obvious that wasn't going to happen. But here's just a couple of short clips, and again, nothing too deep that we have to get into, of Andrew Schultz, again, putting out his rat teeth and really trying to jump as far as he possibly can from this sinking ship that is going down faster than the Titanic. And again, this is, there's two clips here. One of them, he's kind of referencing, I believe, more of the Epstein side of things, and it's him and his crew. And then the other one, he's referencing more of the specific ICE and Alex Preddy incident. So let's dive into this one. I think it's maybe a minute, something like that, not too much. So let's call him out. Let's listen to it, call him out, and then we'll move on.
If you see it with your own eyes, you know exactly what happened. And there's something disgusting that's happening, not only in Minneapolis, I'm sure it's happening in other parts of the United States, where it's ICE is under the guise of security, right? Under the guise of safety, because that's what they're doing, right? Is every time something horrific happens, they keep going, but look at the pedophiles we got. Look at the murderers we got. Look at all the violent criminals we got. I looked at the numbers. It's 5%.
You mean lies? So we're talking about just outright lies, correct? So is that not something that we could have pointed to his first administration? Or again, it was very well reported that it was something, like 30, 40,000 lies that he told, verifiable lies, right? Just ones that we could point out, look at, remember. I'm sure there was much more than that we could have pointed out as well. But, something in the range of between 30 and 40,000 lies that Donald Trump, and again, that's just shy of the 38,000 plus times that he's been referenced in the Epstein files just in the latest release. Right. So again, just to put it in perspective, how many times he's been named in the Epstein files and how ridiculously, egregiously insane it is for him to be like, yeah, I've been exonerated. This really shows, if anything, these fucking 38,000 times that I've been mentioned really shows that I have no involvement. Again, put that through your skull and try to make sense of that. I dare you. Don't do it right now, because you'll end up going to the hospital and you'll miss the show. Just after the show, maybe you could try to do that, but not right at this second. But again, it's lies that he's talking about. So is there anything that we could have pointed to, not only in his last administration, but even before that, would tell us that Donald Trump's known for lying to you? Whether it's lying to your face, or lying to his contractors, or lying to his wife, or lying to his kids, or lying to his business partners. Well, lying to the country, right? I mean, just ridiculous that it's like, now it's crazy to think that the Trump administration now is lying about what's taken place. I mean, again, I don't think he's that ignorant. I really don't. I think this is kind of like the act that he's putting on, like, no, who could have fucking seen this coming, right? I don't know, everybody that was warning you before you had him on your fucking platform and was like, blowing him in front of everybody.
Percent of the people they deported are violent criminals.
Yes.
There's probably more pedophiles in the Oval Office.
Exactly. If you bring up another fucking pedophile about deporting and you're not releasing the Epstein list, just shut the fuck up, all of you.
Yes.
I don't want to hear anything else about, we got to deport the pedophiles. They're right here.
Yeah.
They're right here. They're a list of them, and you're not exposing it. If you see it with your own eyes.
And again, as right as he is, no fucking flowers here, no congratulations, no thank yous, right? No fucking, okay, let's put him up on a pedestal here because he's speaking out. No. You don't, that's not how it works. You don't get to put the fucking pedophiles in position and then get flowers for calling them out a year into their fucking, corrupt, murderous run that they've had and still have 3 years left on. That's just not how we're going to fucking play games here. As we like to say, homie, don't play that, right? So fucking sorry about that, Andrew. Not sorry, but it's just not going to fucking fly. It's just not these like ridiculous excuses. And again, as right as they are in saying that there's more pedophiles inside of the White House and they're probably deported in the people that they've rounded up, probably 100% fucking right. Calling out the fact that the majority of people rounded up don't have criminal records or, to a large extent don't have a criminal record anywhere near what they're trying to portray these people of having. And again, it doesn't stop there because he had one more of these clips that people were talking about where he sat down with Charlemagne the God. And again, I believe on this one, they're talking about more along the lines of Alex Preddy. What do you say we dive into a little bit of this? Again, call it out, and then we'll move on.
Look, I know I had Trump on the podcast, and I'm
Stop explaining that, man.
No, but let me just clarify because I think it is important to say, like, I know how I had him on the podcast, and when I'm talking out about this, I'm not doing it to like, get people to be like, oh, he's a good guy or whatever like that, or trying to get anybody on my side. I understand that this is a horrific event that happened. I objectively want to talk about it. I'm not trying to like win anybody over in this.
You understand? You know the difference between right and wrong.
There's a difference between right and wrong, and there's a difference between like respecting and honoring the Constitution, the backbone of our country, and then
right. Which again, at the time you had Donald Trump on your show. Previously, that what he was known for. Was he known for following the Constitution? Was he known for following the rule of law to a T? Is that something that you were kind of like, oh, geez, I don't know. I was propagandized. I thought he was like really following the letter of the law all the time. I didn't know about any of these billions of stories stemming from New York City and his corruption and greed and fraud, right? Now, who knows? Who could have thought that? Did he grab him by the pussy? I know he said that, but I mean, I really wanted to have him on the podcast. That's as simple as that. And he goes on.
Completely shredding it. And this is completely shredding it. And now they're realizing that people have noticed it, and now they're trying to backtrack it. But
by the way, he's been wiping his ass with the Constitution.
Sure.
Like, I've been on record a million times saying, like, when he said we should terminate the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election, shit like that got to be disqualifying if you're running for president.
So here's a perfect example. So it's like, I know that there are people.
Yeah, 100% right by Charlemagne, and no response, no rebuttal by Andrew. Right, to say, because all of that stuff that he's talking about, Charlemagne, just happened well before he had him on the podcast, happened well before the last election. Right, we could talk about January 6th being a totally and completely disqualifying, and we could bring that up and make Andrew look like an idiot. But Charlemagne, at least in that instance, is 100% right. And again, no rebuttal, nothing to say about it. He just moves on to the next point here. Andrew does.
Sounding the alarms about this. When I saw these last few weeks in Minnesota, I didn't think it was possible to happen in the United States of America.
Well, then you don't know the fucking history of the United States of America. Just an ignorant, stupid fucking statement, which is, again, going to be pointed out and called out by Charlemagne, right? Because, again, clearly you've seen no video. Clearly you've seen no fucking newsreels of what happened during the civil rights movement, right? Something that's not possible in this country. And, again, in the grand scheme of things, we're not even talking about all that fucking long ago, if you think about it. So to be like, oh, geez, no, what he really means is, and again, it's pointed out here, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm taking credit, but what he really means in this instance is, I didn't know this could happen to fucking white folk, right? I know this could happen to black folk. I know we could take down Black Wall Street and burn down fucking Tulsa in Oklahoma and totally diminish the wealth that fucking, a countless number of African-American families had built up, to that point, and completely make them fucking start from scratch. I mean, we'll just totally negate that out of our fucking minds. We'll just totally negate that from history. But what he's thinking about here is, oh, I can't believe I'm seeing white people being shot on the streets, right? That's what he means. And again, this is a similar point being made here, I believe, coming up by Charlemagne.
I'm being 100% serious.
To white people?
No, to anybody.
But you've seen it happen to black people.
Exactly.
Yes, to white people.
It's okay to say that.
No,
it is.
No.
But it's okay.
He doesn't know which way to go on this one. He thinks he's kind of stuck in a corner on this one. He wants to, he switched his policy on that one. He switched his belief. Okay, it does sound bad. It is stupid for me to say that doesn't happen in this country. So I am going to say white people. And then when he goes back to it, he's like, oh shit, that's not going to sound good to my audience either. So he has to kind of fucking walk that back too.
No, I don't. I mean, I didn't know that this was possible to happen in the United States of America. And what I'm specifically talking about with this situation here, and like not only this one.
And it's exactly people like this that shouldn't even be allowed to have a presidential candidate on their fucking podcast. Just like, that fucking Nelk boys shouldn't be allowed to interview a war criminal like Benjamin Netanyahu to ask him what fucking flavor ice cream he likes and what fucking Burger King he likes to stop at, right? These fucking idiots that are so, heavily washed and got people out there to vote when they don't know a goddamn thing about the person they're voting for should not even be allowed to fucking have these candidates on their platform unless they could answer some sort of civics questions, some sort of fucking, history questions about this country to show that they could even engage in the topics that we need to discuss in order to talk about the benefit of society or the benefit of the American people.
But also what we've seen ICE doing, like entering homes without warrants, like arresting people. It is unconstitutional. And they've done this weird thing where like they have like a federally administrative warrant, which is some bullshit. It doesn't even allow you to actually have access into a home. Yeah, they're trying to find ways.
Yeah, it's almost like the weaponization of the fucking federal government isn't something that we saw already from the Trump administration. And then them trying to kind of put that onto the Biden administration was them basically just doing whatever they possibly could to muddy the waters so that when they got back into office, when they got back into power, they could do whatever they wanted. They could fucking weaponize the government to the nth degree, to an extent that we haven't seen in fucking generations, if not ever, in this country. And they'll always have that what about? Oh, well, we fucking remember when we were talking about the weaponization of Comey, the weaponization of Biden's DOJ and this and that and the other fucking thing. Well, this is the real weaponization that we're seeing right now. This is the active and ongoing militarization and weaponization of the federal government. So all that bullshit that we were hearing, just kind of picture yourselves now, whatever you thought about Biden, the Biden administration, whatever gripes and groans that you had about them, just picture a time. Did you, were you feeling like fucking, these people were going to be shot in the streets at that point in time? Or have we seen the most, societal unrest take place under the fucking Trump administration? At almost every fucking accounting we could talk about, whether it's COVID, whether it's George Floyd, whether it's the recent protests that we've seen. It's funny how they all stack up under one fucking guy when he's in office like that.
Around the system. And what that says to me, when you're willing to shred the Constitution to preserve it's not only your power, but your ideas of what should happen. It is
and it's just pointing back to January 6th. It's almost like you had a clear-cut, example that you could look at to be like, wow, that's something that definitely could and probably will happen in the future if this guy is allowed back in office. But what you said was, fuck it. We all fucking forget what took place at the Capitol. We all forget that, people died. We all forget the gallows that was outside. We all forget the chance of hang Mike Pence and fucking where's Nancy Pelosi. We all forget all the guns and bear spray and batons and bats and everything that was brought there. It's crazy, but now you just wanted to have him on your podcast, and now all of a sudden it's like you're reliving it again. Like we all didn't go through his first term. Like we all didn't know Donald Trump before he got into fucking politics. So again, no flowers, no credit, no nothing. I wouldn't even throw you a fucking life raft at this point, right? All you fucking rats jumping from the sinking ship. I hope you fucking sink right to the bottom with your lead weights. Is that the end of it? That might be the end of it. So again, that's just a couple clips here from a few people jumping from the
incredibly un-American
that were. Oh, sorry, hold on. That were directly.
Look, I know I had Trump on the podcast.
Shut up.
I'm aware. Explaining that.
I didn't say you could talk. Zip it. But yeah, that's just an example of just one example of people jumping from the sinking ship like rats. But again, I wanted to dive into what just happened to it. Where'd he go? Oh, here he is. But here's one example. Again, somebody that we've been diving into regularly, using as I call it a thermometer to gauge the temperature of where the MAGA civil war is at, where this conservative civil war is at. It's more like it at this point. It's not just a MAGA civil war. It's now kind of infiltrated into the whole Republican zeitgeist, the whole conservative fucking movement, and they're all kind of vying for who's going to be next, who's going to be the most popular, who's going to be shunned, who's going to be canceled. And they're all doing it to themselves. They're all doing it to themselves. Nothing to do with the fucking left at all, not even remotely. But we saw some examples of people not willing to call them out. There's many out there, but again, here's a few that are at least willing to some extent. And again, we have a lot to call out as we continue to talk about Nick Fuentes, who is again apparently somebody that Nate here admires. But I haven't seen this recent Nick Fuentes call-out video from Nate here. And again, as we'll talk about Nick Fuentes' comments, you'll be wondering the same thing on when that's going to come. But again, just to kind of gauge the temperature, here's a little bit more of what is clearly a more right-leaning conservative political commentator calling out not only, you can see on the screen, Megyn Kelly, Laura Ingraham, Kristi Noem, Pam Bondi, and KKK Caroline Leavitt. And it goes on. So here's just a moment or two from this video. And again, for the sake of time, we'll continue to move on through the clips that we have. But this is just to kind of get the feel of what they're talking about.
Megan, are you covering this story? Well, let's take a look and see if you're any different than the rest. What do we got? Anti-ICE riots, illegal immigrants, Don Lemon, Don Lemon, Don Lemon, illegal immigrants, Don Lemon, Don Lemon, Don Lemon.
And this is very similar to what we do. right? This is very similar to what we do as far as calling out these channels. Let's go through what their fucking recent videos are stating. What are they talking about? Are they talking about the Epstein files? Are they talking about what's been going on with Trump and his crazy fucking, military actions and threatening Iran and going to war with fucking Colombia and Peru and Mexico and China, right? Are they talking about these things? Or again, are they just trying to talk about bullshit that doesn't really fucking matter? Are they towing the party line as far as propaganda is concerned? And again, to a certain extent, this is very similar to what we're doing. And it's funny to see that the Republican and conservative fucking media zeitgeist has dissipated to such an extent that like it's hard to distinguish sometimes between like the call outs that they'll get from the lefties or liberals or progressives, right? And their own fucking people nowadays. Again, that's really the through line of the point that I'm trying to get across when we show, Nate's videos and other right-wing videos to try to, when they're going at each other. That's what I want you to get out of this. And it's like, it's not even coming from the left. We're just sitting back and watching this shit show.
So no, yet another MAG influencer who hasn't done or said a single word about the new files release.
Yet another MAGA influencer who hasn't said a single word about the new release, right? A direct call out of every single person, especially Megyn Kelly, who just featured prominently and looked at her page. But I believe he goes on to talk about the rest of the women you saw featured. We saw him yesterday on Sunday's show, talked about Elon Musk, Donald Trump. So to a certain extent, not what you'd expect from a Republican conservative leaning political podcaster, but it is happening. It is happening.
Amazing.
Skip the intro.
The biggest story in the news continues to rage on this week. Yes, Big E, as we'll call him to help work around the algorithm here, and the files. And we've had a lot of new wild additions to the stories this week, from things like Elon Musk begging to go to the island and Jay-Z being implicated for disgusting, horrific crimes with Harvey Weinstein, so much so that he has now fled the country supposedly and deleted his Instagram. Wow.
I don't know about any of that, but again, he's at least, and again, a lot of the right wingers and the bullshit they're talking about, and I think Newsmax kind of brings it up on a clip that we'll be looking at, where it's like all they want to talk about is Trump, 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 just Trump, 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 that. Well, I believe on Sunday on this very show, on this very podcast, we went through a list of names of about 20 to 30 different names that were listed on that list. Again, to highlight everybody that's involved. I don't care if it's Bill. I don't care if it's fucking Hillary, who it should be said have to what I've seen reported agreed to come in and testify to a certain extent about this same thing. It's something that Donald Trump and the rest of his cronies, I think there's something like 40 or 50 of Donald Trump acolytes that are directly named and listed in these fucking files. We'll be talking about Howard Lutnick, obviously Elon Musk. We talked about Sunday. A lot of the Steve Bannon, right? We might as well call these fucking things the Steve Bannon files at this point. The motherfucker's featured so much, right? Not only that, but again, the 38,000 plus times that Donald Trump's name is mentioned in over 5,000 separate documents. And they're trying to say it totally, totally corroborates everything that he's been saying. It totally absolves him of any wrongdoing. It's like, what? What fucking planet are you guys living on? I know we've been asking that for a long time, but what fucking frequency, what wavelength do you guys run on? Because clearly we've been disconnected at some point, right? Like, you guys still going on AOL dial-up at this point? Because we're on 5G. So maybe you guys need to catch up because you guys clearly aren't on the same fucking wavelength.
Wow. Absolutely insane story. And you would think this story would be getting covered everywhere. I mean, everywhere. Right? Well, it turns out no. If you only ingest MAGA media and Fox News, for example, you may have not.
Listen to who he's calling out. He's not going to hear, I'm sure, the CNNs, the MSNBCs, or MS Now, whatever the fuck it's called, or, the Breaking Points, or the Midas Touches, or, fucking the Jack Coacharellas, or the Keith Edwards. I'm sure you're probably not going to get it because obviously we're covering it. Obviously the lefties, obviously the liberals, obviously the progressives are talking about it. So clearly that's not the fucking side he's going to call out.
Even heard that there was even a new Epstein files release, because I actually went through Fox News's pages and all of the MAGA influencers, and they are just eerily quiet on this. That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Helps the channel. Let's jump into this thing. Let's talk about it. Why are these MAGA influencers all so suspiciously quiet. Yes, all the
I mean, it's not a fucking hard question. It seems to be like a rhetorical question, excuse me, that he's asking at this point. But it's like, shouldn't it be obvious, because these are the people that are clearly responsible for putting this guy in office? And again, if they go back on what they were stating for the last 10 years now, that basically just shuns and cancels out every bit of credibility, or every shred of credibility that they don't have left anymore, to anybody that has a brain in their fucking head and head on their shoulders. But they just, what are they going to do? They'd just be throwing away everything, every relationship that they've fucking ruined, every job that they've had to leave or quit, right? Every family member that they don't speak to anymore. It'll be all for naught if they come out at this point and have to say, okay, I was wrong. You guys were right. He's in the files 40,000 fucking plus times, right? At this point, somebody mentioned 40,000 plus times. You just, there's only one thing to suggest in that one, and that he has much more involvement, much more action, and almost definitive engagement in criminal actions at that point. There's no other way to fucking put it. So he goes on to sit here, and again, for the sake of time, we're not going to go through any more of this, but he goes on to call out, you can see Ben Shapiro, Ted Cruz, Mark Levin, Marco Rubio, a bunch of other prominent fucking, prominently featured podcasters and politicians. And here's Laura Loomer up top. Here's the Tommy Robinson from the UK. Here's, what's the guy's name? I can't think of it. Hold on. Well, you guys are thinking of his name. Peterson. What's his name? Jordan Peterson? The guy that said, where is he? The guy that said this.
I mean, they've been conserved since the time of lobsters, right? There weren't trees around when lobsters first manifested themselves on the planet.
I love it. And then you got Ben Shapiro, who said this.
I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis,
which we've just loved as a drop for our show. It's been fantastic. And I'm sure you'll recognize a few other people on there. But let's dive into a little bit of the Newsmax coverage, because this is one of the MAGA-leaning, heavily fucking Donald Trump ass-kissing, boot-licking channels that he's talking about, that Nate was just kind of referencing in that last video. So not a bad segue. I think I'm getting better at those. But yeah, this is just a quick Newsmax clip, and I just want to show you the difference in the way that this is being covered, again, by people that aren't beholden to Donald Trump anymore, aren't beholden to MAGA, but still obviously lean conservative, lean Republican, and to a certain extent have even gone past Donald Trump to the Nick Fuentes type Groyper crew. And again, as we bring up Nick Fuentes later in the show, remember that Nate, as told by his own lips, as we've seen on our own show, he talks about how he's a Nick Fuentes acolyte, but suspiciously, as he's calling out Fox News and OAN and Megyn Kelly, doesn't seem to be willing to have the same energy going towards his new messiah that they all love in Nick Fuentes. So I'll be actively awaiting that video, Nate, for you to put that out. Again, calling out Nick Fuentes for the ridiculously egregious shit that he said lately. But here's Newsmax. Let's throw this on the screen here. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger for
Chris,
you. Which I
know
can.
you spent your week.
Shut up, you. I didn't say you could talk yet. And you're an idiot. All right, let's dive into this again. Just a real quick clip from Newsmax, and just notice the different way that it's being talked about. You can compare it to obviously the lefty channels, lefty podcast, and videos that you guys watch, and even just towards compare it to Nate in the Valhalla and the way he's willing to call out Megyn Kelly and the MAGA sites, just like Newsmax. Listen to this bullshit.
Chris, I know you spent your weekend watching the Grammys or Emmys or whatever in part, but 3 million documents. I don't even think ChatGPT for the Democrats was going to go through all 3 million of these. And they're already saying it's not enough. And I think that we understand that just means they control F for Trump, didn't see Trump in there and said, okay, we want more. So
wait, I'm sorry. Can you back up the fucking train real quick? Just back up the caboose, slide that in fucking reverse, and can you just bring it on back here for a second? Are you honestly trying to get through to the Newsmax fucking audience right now that in the latest release of the Epstein files, that again has featured Donald Trump's name in more than 5,000 separate documents in more than 38,000 separate fucking times, just in what we've known so far, you're really trying to get across that somebody in the Democrats or the lefties or whatever, F12 or whatever fucking button he said, and searched Donald Trump's name, and nothing came up. Did you hear that one? listen to this turd shit. Oh, like what? Again, I ask, what wavelength, what frequency are you guys running on? Because clearly it's not the 2026 wavelength. Check this out. Ready? Fucking unreal.
For Trump, didn't see Trump in there and said, okay, we want more. So
they didn't see Trump in there. So basically saying we searched for Trump's name and we didn't see Trump. Well, okay, then we missed, again, the almost 40,000 times that his name has been mentioned and featured in some of the most egregious, some of the most fucking heinous allegations that are in and have come out of the Epstein files so far, have all prominently featured Donald fucking Trump, the current president of the United States, again, featured, and I'll say it again, over 5,000 separate documents listed, his name listed over 38,000 fucking times. And I do believe that's just in the latest release. Correct me if I'm wrong, if that's in the entirety or not, but I do believe that's the latest release. All right, let's go on.
When will this be sufficient for the Democrats, do you think?
Well, it'll never be.
Why is it not sufficient for you? That's the question. The party of law and order, the party of fucking small government, the party of protected children, the party of those sex trafficking, supposedly, allegedly, right? Reportedly. Why is it not enough for you? Why is the fucking, just even what we've said on this show, right? The ridiculous way and the egregious and fucking monstrous way that they used to check children, the way that they used to auction off children, the calendar girls, allegations that we saw. And again, all of this put together. And that calendar girls, if I'm not mistaken, was a document that was removed from the site. So somebody had put in the number of documents that were related to Trump in something, and the number is a lot less than it was. So it seems like a lot of people are thinking that they're taking down a lot of these files too. So, let's let this continue, but it's ridiculous to think that for some reason it shouldn't be enough what we know and what we've heard for these, Christian conservative fucking white nationalists, people that are supposedly there to, again, small government, protect the children, to a large part of what they say in their rhetoric, for them to be like, okay, let's dive deep into what's taking place here and let's hold these people accountable. Let's hold some fucking feet to the fire. But no, they're just nope. Donald Trump says he's not in it. We got to listen to him, I guess.
Sufficient for the left because they just want to argue. Hillary Clinton and have a fight and accuse you of things that they know are false that have been litigated long ago. And the reality, one of the great old sayings about the Democrats and the left is they're not happy unless they're not happy. And the only thing that makes them happy is being unhappy. And with the Epstein files, here's Bill Clinton, Donald Trump.
I'm sorry, are the emails, are the memos, are the fucking victims' reports that we've seen come from court filings, right? Are these not enough for you to be like, holy shit? Because again, everybody with a brain in their heads, everybody with eyes and everybody with ears that can fucking hear and see the videos and the pictures and what's been taking place in the in the emails and stuff, is horrified, is shocked beyond fucking belief, is disturbed, has been emotional, has been fucking traumatized by just a fraction, just some of the instances and allegations to come out of this. It's worse. It's much worse than anybody could have even fucking imagined. Just like Donald Trump's second term. And believe me, people knew it was fucking bad. People knew it was wrong. People knew it was going to be sick and twisted. But I don't think people even fucking saw what we've heard so far coming out of this one. I don't know if people expected it to be as twisted and as sick as we've seen from these fucking monsters that, again, still walk freely amongst us every single day. Every single fucking day, running the companies that we fucking shop at, running this, that, and the other thing, responsible for banking, responsible for travel, whatever. Just fucking getting to freely fucking live amongst us in society, knowing the shit that fucking they know, knowing the information is out there in public, but also knowing that the DOJ is going to do absolutely fucking nothing to continue prosecutions on these people.
Kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago, kicked him out of someplace else, Jeffrey Epstein. They don't have anything. They've gone through it, and you're right. They just search for Trump's name and the 3 million documents, and whatever they come up with, that's what George Stephanopoulos, White House president.
So why don't you just go through a few of the things that we've come up with? Why don't you just go through a few of the highlighted allegations? Why don't you just go through a few of the emails, a few of the memos, a few of the court filings, right? A few of the testimonies under oath, under penalty of perjury, right? Why don't we go through a few of those? Don't just brush it off. Of course, it's Newsmax and they're not gonna, but these are the questions that we all should be asking stations like this and people that watch stations like this. How come they're not showing you? Why don't, if they're so fucking, if they're so nonchalant and they're so sure about his innocence, why don't they show you this bullshit? Let's show us the propaganda supposedly that has been come out so far. And again, the 38,000 different times his name has been mentioned, the videos, the emails, the plane, the flight logs. everything that we've known up until this point. Put it all together. Show the people. Let them come out with their own fucking conclusions. But obviously they're not going to.
For a Democrat president, of course. And honestly, and I guess what we learned yesterday is that Barack Obama's chief counsel, the White House counsel, is all over the Epstein files.
See how they love it. It's all nonsense. Donald Trump's not even mentioned. He's totally exonerated. You can't even find his name. Democrats have been searching and searching and searching, can't find a reference to Trump. But that guy, Obama's this, that, or the other thing, who's probably in there. Well, I don't even know. I'm not even sure the person that they're referencing, so forgive me. So I'm just kind of, going off the cuff here. But this guy that's mentioned 5 or 10 or whatever, how many times, let's talk about him. Let's bring him up. But not, again, the current president of the United States, who's mentioned on the flight logs, who's his best friend for over 25 years, who never lived more than a driver away on the golf course from Jeffrey Epstein. That guy who's now been mentioned 5,000 separate documents, 38,000 times. Let's not talk about that. Of course, that's nothing that we have to bring up. But that guy that's in there once, twice, 3 times that worked for the Democrat that we don't like, let's bring that one up. And again, lock them all the fuck up. I don't give a shit who it is. I don't care if they work for Obama. I don't care if they work for Clinton. I don't care if they work for Reagan or fucking Carter. I don't give a shit who they work for. Lock them all the fuck up. Clinton, Hillary, all of them. I don't give a shit. Give them their shot to fucking, to say their piece, provide the evidence or whatever the fuck, testify. But you know what I mean? If we see specific and explicit evidence to say, yep, that person did that person did this, fucking lock them all up. I don't give a shit what is next to their name, a D, an R, an I, I don't care what it is. And I think that's, again, the through line. That's something that we've all said here, many times on the left, many times as liberals, progressives, whatever you guys, consider yourselves here. In the opposition, in the resistance, but it's just not something that we care about. I don't care about who the fuck it is. We don't care about where they served. We don't care about what fucking president they were, what company what fucking sports team they played for. I don't care. Lock them up, throw away the key, put them in hell. Some people need jail, some people need hell. My opinion. All right, let's continue because nobody needs that much Newsmax. All right, here's a couple clips, and we're just going to kind of dive through a few parts and pieces of these videos because they're a little bit long, obviously, to go through the whole thing on the show. But I would definitely advise you to go check these out if you're looking for, a little bit more coverage and people doing research and digging through these emails and files and looking for different things. I always known him as CoffeeZilla. I don't know what the difference between CoffeeZilla and Voidzilla is. I'm not sure. I'm not chronically online like that. But under the channel Voidzilla here, the couple new releases. This one's from yesterday, I believe, where he says new Epstein files are completely insane. And then he's got this one, I believe, from this morning where it says, will we ever get accountability with the Epstein files? And it almost sounds like he was listening to my Sunday show. Because as we kept bringing up on the Sunday show, that doesn't seem like that's going to happen. It seems like Todd Blanche and the DOJ and the rest of these fuckers are leading us down a path of pure frustration, pure anxiety, and pure fucking torture for the victims. Again, the only thing that is worse than not having the Epstein files released and seeing justice and accountability for the victims is having all of the Epstein files released, or again, whatever, quote unquote, all of the files is, whatever's not redacted and whatever hasn't been held back. We still believe there's some millions and millions and millions of pages of documents being held back. So when I say what's been released, I just mean what the DOJ has allowed to go out unredacted and has released thus far. The only other frustrating part would be having that information out there, what we've seen, what we're going through now, and then still not seeing justice or accountability or action by law enforcement or the DOJ. There's just no worse form of torture that I could think of by the victims to, expose themselves once again, to have to relive these moments once again, to have to look at these fucking monsters on the television once again, to have to go into committees and hearings and on camera and get the scrutiny and the death threats and this and that they definitely get from the right. To go through all of that, to have this fucking information released, and again, not all of it, but what we've seen so far is by far enough, in my opinion, to start going after a lot of these fuckers. They're going to have to live through this again for nothing if the DOJ refuses to act, which Todd Blanche continuously said the other day. They're done. It's over. They've done their part. They are the Department of Review and Redact now. They're not the Department of Justice. There's no justice to be seen. There's no justice to be had. As long as they, again, broke the law, which, again, he made – it's just what timeline are we fucking living in where it's like up there, everybody's commending on the right, everybody's commending the DOJ, and they're talking about how they did this, that, and the third. Well, you missed the fucking December 19th deadline to get all of the files out there, right? There's still fucking millions of files still out there that haven't been fucking released. God knows what has been released and has been redacted that we still should be fucking privy to in that information. You missed the fucking point in the opportunity where you're supposed to tell Congress and advise Congress as to what you redacted and why and how that works in line with the law that was written, but you fucking failed to do that too. So it's like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? It's like they just get to play by their own fucking rules. We're just going to pretend like they did everything above board. Nobody's going to call it. What? Hello? And again, I don't pretend to have answers for any of that. And like the detachment from reality that we see now from the right, from the media, and willing to excuse all this bullshit. I wish I did. I really wish I did, but we try to cover it as best as we can. All right, let's dive into just a little bit of these videos. I want to start, I believe, on this first one where they kind of talk about, I think he's diving into Howard Lutnick. Now I kind of forget where I stopped it, but let's just dive into it and we'll go from there. I appreciate you guys. Hit that like button. Again, thanks for watching the Blunt Politics podcast. I'm Boston Brian. I really do appreciate you guys giving me the time and the opportunity. I know time is the most important thing in your life, so spending even a little bit of that here with me is very, very much appreciated. So please make that time worth it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, help us get to 20,000 subscribers. It's only with your help and generosity that this channel continues to go because we have no financial backers. We sell you nothing. We have no ads. I don't charge you for any content. There's no payment for Substack, nothing. So anything is just a pure 100% donation by the viewers, from the viewers, because you find some sort of appreciation or information coming from this podcast. So I'm going to continuously try to do it the right way. It's it's not the most financially viable way to do these things, but I do believe it's the right way, that nobody should be excluded from watching any of my content because you don't have $1 or $2 or $5. But please, if you do have $1 or $2, think about sending it to the Venmo or the PayPal, or signing up at patreon.com, or underneath me at for a YouTube membership, or just the old-fashioned way in the chat. Just, it goes a long way, and I'm hoping to do more with this channel. Last month we had more people watch this channel, more people engage with this channel, and more people share this channel out than we've ever had in any month out of this show. So I really do appreciate you guys for all of that. I do believe we're on the right track as far as growth and expanding the community. So yeah, let's continue to do that. So let's dive into here a little bit of the Voidzilla, but I just want to make sure I appreciate you guys. Show my sign of appreciation for you guys. So here we go. Let's dive into it.
Which is a bit weird if you had distanced yourself from the guy and y'all had this big falling out. Now, again, do we know for sure that Bill Gates did all of that? No, of course we don't. But do I think Bill Gates was innocently looking for charity advice from a...
And again, to a large extent, we're kind of picking this up in the middle. To a large extent, the beginning of this video dives deeply into, Bill Gates' connection, Bill Gates' information, what's come out in the Epstein files about Bill Gates. So again, a lot of people are talking about a lot of different fucking players in this. This isn't like, let's just get Donald Trump alone. Excuse me. This is, let's get all of these motherfuckers. So everybody's doing their little part. Some people are talking about this, that, and the other one. Some people are picking up the in-betweens. I mean, everybody's kind of coming together to be like, okay, whether it's the people even on Twitter that we listed, and fuck them for being on there, but even the people that are out there listing all of the names that have been listed. It's not just the fucking one. It's everybody. We want them all of them, every single fucking person.
After he already pled guilty? No, I don't. I'm sorry. I'm not that gullible. And speaking of not that gullible, we've been lied to also by another richest guy on the planet. Geez, it's a shock why they don't want to put this out. Elon Musk, who has been saying for years that it is a lie that he went to Epstein's island. In fact, he says he refused to go. From Elon, he says, Epstein tried to get me to go to his island. I refused. He says, anyone pushing this false narrative deserves complete contempt. Later responding to another...
Again, just for the sake of time, because I know we dove into this on the Sunday show, but it's fucking hilarious to see that, Elon here claiming that he chose not to go to the island. And then in the release of these fucking emails and the release of the files, comes to find out that it was the fucking pedophiles that didn't want Elon at the party. The wild party that Elon asked what night was going to be the wildest, fucking years after it had already come out what Jeffrey Epstein's background and criminality looked like. Put it into perspective. We want the years to be clear on what took place when and what people knew when, because that's a huge part of this. But again, even Elon Musk is so fucking unliked, is so fucking dry and boring and weird that the pedophile ring known as the fucking Epstein Express, going to fucking Epstein Island, conspired to have fucking Elon not show up. That's how fucking not like this guy is, right? But that's the only reason. That's the only reason. It wasn't for lack of Elon's attempts. Wasn't for lack of communication between Elon and Jeffrey Epstein. Wasn't for lack of fucking reserving the helicopter for him in Tallulah, right? No. It's just them saying, sorry, we talked about it, and unfortunately, it looks like my schedule is not going to match up, which sounds to me like they're blowing him off. Pardon the pun. Excuse me, not the correct word, but you know what I was saying. You know what I mean.
Headline, which said Elon Musk planned trip to Epstein's private island, and he says this is false. But of course, we start to dig through the files. And
all right, yeah, I'm going to dive through here just because, like I said, we covered the Elon aspect. I want to dive on to here where he talks about Howard Lutnick, because he starts to discuss Howard Lutnick, who again
totally associated.
More information to come out of this. Howard Lutnick, who I did not know at one time lived 7 steps away from Jeffrey Epstein. It's amazing how close in proximity all of these fuckers are, right? It is just amazing to me how just closely engaged and established all of these fucking people are, whether it's Trump and Epstein, whether it's Lutnick and Epstein, whether it's fucking Elon and Epstein. Well, all these fuckers, just no matter how rich and widespread they are throughout the globe, they just all somehow happen to have houses next to each other, fucking memberships to the same fucking clubs. Like, it's remarkable how just it was so blatant and in everybody's face. And, it's still 2026 and we can't find accountability. But here's Howard Lutnick's little piece that he's got in there and how everybody's calling him out on his bullshit because the timelines just don't match up. And the emails and what he said in the emails isn't matching up to the story he told. I don't know if it was 60 Minutes or whatnot. We'll find out here.
With the guy after the guilty plea. They lie through their teeth, but they can't even keep their story straight. I mean, that's what's crazy. They're not even competent at this. They get caught in their own lies all the time. Remember, the FBI's official story was they didn't blackmail. Well, before we even had these files, Howard Lutnick was on the record calling Jeffrey Epstein the greatest blackmailer ever.
So how come Bill Gates and all these other people could hang
Excuse
around?
me. Jesus Christ. I can't believe I called her 60 Minutes. My apologies, 60 Minutes, as shit as you are as of late. I don't mean to disrespect you in that way. Just my apologies. This is no 60 Minutes. But anyway, just again to kind of set the stage here. Again, the official line from the government is that Jeffrey Epstein didn't blackmail people and that it was just Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell involved in all of this, right? Well, okay, well, here's Howard Lutnick on with this bitch talking about how Jeffrey Epstein is the world's best blackmailer. Well, okay, well, that doesn't line up with what the government's saying today. And again, it goes on in Howard Lutnick talks about his visit to Jeffrey Epstein's house.
Not see what you saw? Or did they see it and ignore it? Or
no, they participated.
Right.
That's what his MO was, get a massage. And what happened in that massage room, I assume, was on video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever.
Interesting. Okay.
This guy was the greatest, not just a blackmailer, not just a blackmailer, the greatest blackmailer ever on earth at any point in time, Jeffrey Epstein. But again, now the government line, the official government line that we're being fucking told is that he didn't blackmail anybody. There was no involvement from anybody. And again, how fucking ridiculous is that statement now that we know all of, or just at least the number of names that we know so far, right? I mean, just the fact that we were lied to that extent by this government should be a wake-up call to everybody. And I'm not saying people on the left, but people on the right. I mean, just the amount of names that have come out and just say, okay, well, it was just Jeffrey and Ghislaine, but we're okay. Why are these 7 million people also listed in emails? And we're talking about heads of state. And again, to a large extent, not to get off track, but the reaction by the government here in the United States and the reaction from other governments, from people that were listed and people that were accused and alleged, England, you can focus on England. There's a couple people, obviously we know the Prince Andrew, where he's been stripped of his title, but there's been resignations, there's been investigations, right? There's been people to step down. There's been people fucking called out in the media. There's been action taken. Like there are open investigations put on by the police into certain people. To a large extent, I forgive me now if it was Norway. I believe it was Norway, but the prince there, and forgive me if I'm getting the titles wrong here, but I believe it was the prince there in Norway, the one that was arrested for rape on an egregious amount of women. His mother has been prominently featured in a lot of these files and asking like parental advice from Jeffrey Epstein for her son, and like showing him nude pictures and like what's the best way to go about it. So it's like, I mean, the whole thing. And there's, action being taken in other countries, but in the United States, crickets, absolutely nothing from the DOJ, no action taken by fucking, Congress to a large extent, nobody coming out and fucking, tearing down the fucking streets, nothing. Crickets. And again, not from us over here, but to the people, for the people in power, for the people that could actually do something. Nothing.
It's a different perspective. Now, if you don't know, that guy, do you think he's just telling the truth there? Even this guy who's contradicting the official narrative, this guy literally lived next to Jeffrey Epstein. This guy was like, I'm going to tell the truth. Those guys participated. That guy lived next to Jeffrey Epstein. And by the way, he lied too. I love this video we're about to get into because this guy, Mr. He's the greatest blackmailer ever, does he know something we don't know? Because it's interesting. Mr. I'm his neighbor had to also explain how.
And listen to this bullshit, bogus, made-up story that Howard Lutnick tells you in order to convince you that he only met Jeffrey once, and it was that one split-second interaction that he and his wife finally decided that they would never be around Jeffrey Epstein again. Listen to how bullshit this is.
He had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. And he lays it out pretty simply. He goes, yep, I lived next to him, but in 2005, I had such a horrible experience that I knew I could never talk to him again.
He was your neighbor for 10 years. How well did you know him?
10 fucking years!
2005. Okay. Jeffrey Epstein is arrested in like 08, I think, or something like that.
Right.
So knock on the door. His assistant on like a Saturday says, Mr. Epstein, your neighbor would like to invite you over for coffee. And there's a massage table in the middle of the room. Massage table in the middle of your house? How often do you have a massage? And he says, every day. And then he like gets like weirdly close to me.
Ooh.
And he says, and the right kind of massage.
Ooh.
Now my wife is standing here.
And allegedly, apparently, he wants you to believe that that's all it took. That was all it took to, after, again, and still lived next to Jeffrey Epstein for 10 years. Still lived next to him for 10 years. And if you knew what he was doing, if you knew he was a scumbag, if you knew he was probably involved in some criminality, did you call anybody? Did you report it? Did you move away from the criminality in the fucking sex crimes and the sex trafficking? Did you move away from that? Or no, did you stay there for 10 years? No, you're okay with that? You just want us to believe that, oh, you saw the fucking massage table and you were like, oh, he got way too close to me when he spoke in the massage table? We're out of here.
So she looks at me and I look at her and we say, I'm sorry, we have to go.
Yeah, immediately. We didn't stay for any length of time. It was just immediate. As soon as he said, I get the right kind of massage, we just immediately looked at him and said we were out. And then he wants you to believe on the walk home, it took him 6 and 7 steps or whatever the fucking bullshit he says here to decide between him and his wife that they were never going back there again.
And we left. And in the 6 or 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house, my wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again.
Well, he couldn't be more clear, could he? Right? He says,
I mean, just the acting is atrocious in that whole fucking thing too. Just you spoke softly, and it took us 6 to 8 steps, and then we concluded that it would be okay to live next to him for the next 10 years, but we're never going over there for dinner. It's too much. We'll live next to him. It'll be okay. It will be his neighbor for the next 10 years, but good Lord, I'll never go on for another fucking round of sushi with him.
hey, I may have been his next
But then
door.
again, it gets even better because then he gets called out in an email that has been released in the Epstein files that that happened after this supposedly took place. It doesn't sound like he had the same energy. Doesn't sound like he had the same I'm never talking to this fucking guy again energy that he supposedly had with him and his wife on that night. Check this out.
Neighbor, but I met him once before the 2008 guilty plea. Remember I said that was a big deal. And we got invited over, and it was like 5 seconds, and we left, and we realized he was a creep. We were out of there. He made this rude, lewd comment in front of my wife. I would never go see this guy. And he makes it super clear he's gross.
So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross.
These other guys, they may have participated.
They participated.
But Howard Lutnick, he could never. No. He's too good of a guy. Well, guess what we found in the old emails? Looky. It's Howard Lutnick writing in to Jeffy Boy in 2012. Hi, Jeff. We're landing in St. Thomas early afternoon, planning to head over. Where are you located? What's the exact location for my captain? Does Sunday evening for dinner sound good? Is this...
Now, I mean, just does that sound like the same energy? And again, we're talking, I believe he said the other previous meeting was before the 2008 conviction. So if this is 2012, 2013, we're talking fucking years later at this point. Like, you have been damn well seen some sort of news segment. You've read a fucking newspaper article. You've seen something, especially since he's your fucking next door neighbor, about what Jeffrey Epstein has been involved in. Does this sound like the same energy? I don't know. Just seems like different energy. This doesn't seem like, hey, I never want to see that fucking disgusting man again because they're all gross. Sounds like he's saying, hey, when's the next time we can see you? Is Sunday good for dinner? Sunday. Is Sunday good? I can bring all my kids. They don't need to wear clothes, apparently, on your island, but we'll bring the kids anyway. We're landing in St. Thomas early Saturday afternoon and planning to head over to St. Bart's Anguilla on Monday at some point. Where are you located? What is the exact location for my captain? Oh, geez. These fucking people. Let me get out of the way for a second. Does Sunday evening for dinner sound good? I have another couple, Michael and Marcy Lehrman. So who's Marcy Lehrman? Who's Michael Lehrman? Let's fucking find out who they are with me on the boat. Each of us has 4 children, 2 16s, 2 14s, a 13, a 12, an 11-year-old, and a 7-year-old. Almost sounds like a fucking menu. Almost sounds like a menu for Jeffrey Epstein. One could be mistaken, again, for all these like auctions and the calendar girls parties and the fucking plot of Taken literally coming out of the Epstein files, for thinking, this could be some sort of like, hey, just to let you know, I'm coming with these. Maybe they could be some of assistance. Maybe they could be of some use while we're on the island here. Because I got 2 16-year-olds. I got 2 14-year-olds, a 13, a 12, an 11, and a 7. Depending on what you like, we got them all. You know? And again, until proven otherwise, you're a sick fuck, Howard Lutnick, and you decided to go to a fucking pedophile's island with not only your children, but your friends' children. And God knows what you did with those fucking children when you got there. Because apparently nobody on this motherfucking list is on it for any other reason. And I'm generalizing to, I'm sure to a certain extent, there's people wrapped up in being named and listed and stuff that are on the periphery of what the hell was going on. But seems like an awful lot of the people fucking involved in this shit had something to do with this shit, knew what was going on with this shit, and wanted to be a part of this shit. Just saying.
Location for my captain. Does Sunday evening for dinner sound good? Is this the guy you said made a lewd comment to your wife and, oh, I could never be in front of him? He's gross. Guess what the next email is? My boy's wife messaging in saying we're headed towards you in St. Thomas. Later, the subject line, Jeffrey Epstein. Good morning, Howard. Jeffrey wished me to pass you along. Nice seeing you. They clearly met and the guy is just lying about it.
And again, Howard Lutnick, one of Donald Trump's closest associates. Howard Lutnick, better known as Howard Nutlick. But we're talking about somebody clearly lying to our faces, blatantly lying in that interview, called out by his own fucking emails, by his own communications in these files. And it's amazing. It's remarkable. And I'll just never fucking cease to be amazed by how closely that these people find themselves in proximity to one another. When again, they're all billionaires. They all have fucking houses in different fucking far-reaching regions of the world or the planet, right? They're all over the place. They're all traveling here, there, and elsewhere. They got families. They got kids in school. But somehow they all live within a fucking square mile. Again, they all vacation at the same ski resorts. They all go hunting at the same fucking safaris, right? What's the car show that was in, what was it, upstate New York that Epstein and the rest of these fuckers went to every year? It was something, not a car show, excuse me, it was an equestrian show. Something classic, right? Fucking just all, it's amazing how all of them, they just all end up in the same fucking place. And then they all end up around Donald Trump somehow. And again, what's the number up to? 30, 40, 50 of his associates that have been named directly? apart from Steve Bannon, apart from Howard Nutlick, apart from fucking Elon Musk, apart from fucking, Ghislaine, apart from Jeffrey, apart from everybody else that he was closely associated with, and his 38,000 times being referenced on there. All of that being above. And again, we're kind of running out of time. So I'm going to jump into his next video here. And this was the one he just put out this morning where he's asking, will we ever get accountability with the Epstein files? And we're not going to watch as much of this one as we just did of the other one. So we're just going to dive through just bits and pieces of this. And then we'll go on to diving into the Nick Fuentes in the reaction to it. All right, let's dive into this one. I appreciate you guys.
It only gets worse from here. We're going back into the 3 million documents. So far, we mostly covered how billionaires lied about their relationship with Epstein and or got blackmailed in the drafts, eventually killing their marriage. We talked about Howard Lutnick, how he lied about meeting Epstein, although he still denies this. And we also talked about some horrible accusations against Trump and Bill Clinton, although we were clear that they are unverified. Now, some people have responded to the release, like Elon Musk, saying that no one fought harder for the full release of the Epstein files than I did. Ironically, he claims that he knew that the playbook of the far left propagandists and legacy media is admit nothing, deny everything, and making counter accusations, saying he had never set foot on Epstein's creepy island or attended parties, despite the fact we saw last time that Elon was asking to be involved.
The fact that you're trying to obfuscate to a point of being like, okay, I know you guys saw all the emails. I know you saw all the communications. I know you saw me, talking about fucking Tallulah and how many spots we needed on the plane. I mean, on the helicopter, and what the wildest party was going to be, and all of the fucking dates that we exchanged back and forth. But again, guys, at the end of the day, he told me not to come. So I don't know what you're yelling at me for. I only attempted to get onto the wildest party on a pedophile island, right? It's not like I was just trying. There's a difference, right? There's a big difference between me wanting to experience a pedophile island, and not just that, but the wildest party on a pedophile island. But unfortunately, I wasn't cool enough to be let in. So you can't do anything to me. You see how that works? I never stepped foot on the island. It's like, what? We don't give a fuck. We have the communications just blatantly saying that you were dying to get the fuck in there, right? You couldn't wait to get the fuck in there. You tried multiple years and on multiple, there's a Christmas, and this one's for my birthday, but we read that on the show the other day. But there's just more than enough evidence for us to be like, no, that's not how it works. I don't care. Just like Donald Trump, even if he didn't set foot on the island, it's because the fucking island went to Donald Trump. Donald Trump may have been so fucking, unwilling to go to the island that he forced all of the fucking actions and all of the people and the workers to come to Mar-a-Lago, to come to his jet, to come to his resorts, to come to his fucking hotels. So that doesn't absolve you of anything anyways, even if that is, found out to be the case. Fucking, it's ridiculous to it's absurd to even suggest that. The same way it's absurd for Elon Musk to be like, well, you can't come after me. I didn't actually get off the helicopter. It's like,
invited to the party. What day and night would be the wildest party on your island? Nevertheless, I think it's an interesting point. The playbook, as we get into this much.
Was that a wardrobe change mid-video? Hold on. Hold on. He's wearing a black coat and a white shirt, right?
On your island. Nevertheless, I think it's
all right. I usually like a little continuity in the video, but what are you going to do? Sometimes you're under a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, and you got shit to do. I understand.
An interesting point. The playbook, as we get into this much darker side of the 3.5 million files, you're going to notice this trend is true, that everyone we're going to talk about, basically they admit nothing, they deny everything, and then they usually make counter accusations against other people in the.
And that is to a T describing the right-wing playbook. That is to a T describing the actions of Fox News, of RSBN, of OAN, of fucking Newsmax, right? Of any other fucking, publication that you can think of that leans right. That's what they're doing. Just don't talk about the things that are bad for them. Say it's all bullshit. Say it's all propaganda. It's all a hoax. Nothing was pointed out. Nothing was found. It's all allegations. But did you hear about the thing about fucking Clinton and Obama's 13th secretary or whatever the fuck? You know what I mean? It's like, can we focus on the guy that's maybe president in office right now being listed 40,000 times on that one? Is that not something you guys want to focus on? Is that no? Okay. You want to focus on the president from what, 08? Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
files. Almost no one has faced any kind of consequences for this whole thing, leading me to wonder, why is it that it seems like really only in the rest of the world has anyone faced anything?
I just want to get this point out there, as I kind of alluded to this earlier in the show, but he's going to go after just the way in which other governments and other countries have kind of reacted to the information to come out of this, as juxtaposed to the way that the United States government is handling this. So, and again, after this, we'll jump on to our next category, our next segment here.
Me to wonder, why is it that it seems like really only in the rest of the world has anyone faced anything? I mean, you've got the former Prince Andrew losing his title. You've got the Slovakia National Security Advisor resigning over the Epstein links. But in America, I'm really hard-pressed to think of anyone who has actually faced any kind of accountability. I think Larry...
No, it's not hard-pressed. There's nothing. Again, this is like self-imposed, right? This is self-imposed just because of that. And I guess you could count it as some form of accountability with his name being prominently featured and released, and this kind of being the backlash. But this isn't the retribution. This isn't the justice. This isn't the accountability that we're looking for. I don't want this guy to go just fucking step down, and go live out the rest of his days in some fucking private island with his billions and billions and billions of dollars. I want him to fucking pay the ultimate price, right? Whether that's life in fucking jail, whether that's life in prison, whatever fucking state has their policies, whatever laws they have in the state that he'll be fucking convicted in, I want them to be followed to a T. Okay, I don't want this guy to have a fucking dollar to spend. I want him to have absolutely nothing to come out of that fucking, the comm section. No fucking bread, nothing. He should have to rely solely on his fucking ability to con people the way he got through his life and got to this point. Other than that, he should receive no fucking help and no assistance from anybody. And that goes for every single other motherfucker wrapped up in this. Every other motherfucker being prosecuted or should be prosecuted or involved and was engaged in this to any extent. In case that's not fucking really clear. But he goes on to talk about how, and again, like I said, there's been investigations, resignations, other things to happen. Like I said, people being stripped of their titles. In different countries. And again, we'll talk about how the United States has done absolutely nothing as far as justice is concerned.
Summers stepped back voluntarily. But other than that, it's hard to think of anyone who's faced any kind of justice. In fact, arguably, Ghislaine Maxwell's life is better than it was previously since these Epstein files have dropped. And what's crazy about this is that we know that the government story is false. Remember,
you hear what he just said? Did you hear what he just said? I want everybody to be fucking crystal clear on that. Not only has fucking Ghislaine Maxwell been prominently featured, prominently involved, and Donald Trump wished her well, and they were best friends, and they've been featured in fucking photographs and videos and all over the place together, but her life has actually gotten substantially better since, the meeting with Todd Blanche, since Donald Trump started getting involved in this, right? She's gone from one, facility that she was fucking kind of pushing the boundaries to be at anyway, considering her convictions and the laws around those convictions and where these people are supposed to be housed. But now she's at a fucking playground. Now she's at some fucking health spa with fucking puppies coming in, licking her face every 2 seconds because Donald Trump allowed that to happen, because Todd Blanche allowed that to happen. And for a very specific and really fucking important reason, you can be damn sure, right?
The FBI documents showed they had 10 co-conspirators they were investigating. We also got an old draft of an indictment where they had several co-defendants with Epstein. Now, of course, we know these were never ultimately charged. This was back in 2005, but just imagine all the way back in 2005, where these charges are from, we already had evidence that Epstein was not working alone. And
again, those are court filings. If you jump back, these are court filings here of actual co-conspirators and defendants with Jeffrey Epstein, what he's pointing to here. So if you can see my mouse on the screen. So these things right here, see where it says defendants, Jeffrey Epstein, and then you got names blacked out. Jeffrey Epstein, names blacked out. Jeffrey Epstein, names blacked out. Look at the Jane Does. Jane Doe 6, 8, 9, 13, 14, 16, 9, 14, 17, 14 and 17, 7, 8, and 9. Up here, minors involved. Dates here: 7/16/2004, 3/31/2005, 9/18/2005, 9/29/2005. Count 19, 20, 21, and 22 of the indictment right here. So why on fucking earth are these defendants having their names redacted? Why are we protecting the co-defendants, the people accused alongside Jeffrey Epstein of these crimes against these specific Jane Does at these specific dates in these specific counts of this specific indictment? Why? And then on the other side, to have it so sloppily fucking handled as far as protecting the victims' fucking identities, the victims' fucking dates, addresses, faces, whatever it may be, any fucking evidence, anything out there that MAGA or these fucking lunatics could use in their stochastic terrorism to fucking, threaten or harm any of these individuals. They didn't do any fucking work to do any of that. They didn't go through that with a fine tooth comb to make sure that those individuals were safe. But God forbid they fucking went through all of this to make sure the defendants were protected in this. And that's the point he was making, just to make it crystal clear here.
Are from, we already had evidence that Epstein was not working alone, and of course he's not. But now we're going to talk a little bit about how the scheme operated.
Suspense on Twitch says, live, did you hear the Sasha Riley files? I'm highly skeptical because of the authentication side, but it sounds plausible the way it's presented, but interesting. Listen for all, I definitely wouldn't categorize it as an interesting listen, but I do understand the premise of what you were saying there. But yeah, to a large extent, we said the same thing here, which is, to what we said to the extent of the limo driver that came out, right? Do I know one way or the other? No. Am I sitting here listening to information that seems very detailed, specific? Seems very fucking, to a T where it happened, when it happened, and who was involved? Absolutely. Do I think that it sounded like something that deserved further investigation to the furthest extent until you could confirm or deny any of the allegations or all of the allegations? Does it require, military records to come out? Absolutely. That's what I would fucking call for. Are there some bits and pieces that were obviously kind of raised red flags or kind of raised questions? Absolutely. But to a large extent, all of this stuff is so outlandish that it raises red flags. But from what we've seen come out of the files, I'm not putting anything out of the realm of possibilities anymore. Nothing. I want it all looked at. I want it all fucking chased down to the ends of the earth. I actually, now that I think about it, I actually had a response on a YouTube post, I believe it was, by the limo driver himself from his channel, saying that he reached out via Facebook, but I looked on Facebook and I didn't see any message or anything like that. So I don't know if he was maybe looking to come on the show and have a discussion. Again, I'm more than happy to have anybody on the show. And if I could ask the proper questions and we could get some more information and kind of, again, I could confirm or deny anything and we could do it here on Blunt Politics, I'd be more than happy to. So if Dan, if you, for some reason you're watching the show and you'd like to come on and say your piece and answer some questions, and then please reach out. I'd be more than happy to have you on to have that discussion. So just throwing that out there as well. None of that, remember that.
To be clear, we're going to talk in a second about the laundering of Epstein's reputation.
And again, for the sake of time, I just wanted to kind of go through that part where he kind of goes through what other countries and how the reactions from other countries and other governments are compared to what's happening here in the States, where seemingly we have the most people involved, right? Whether it's them having businesses or business associations in the United States or being Americans themselves, whatever it may be, it seems like we should have the most interest, the most action going on in this country to go after, investigate, prosecute, throw people in jail for these crimes. All right, let's move on to a couple of these just, I don't know what you want to say. And to a large extent, what Nick tries to do here, this fucking absolute bigoted, racist piece of shit, is he tries to get ahead of wherever he tries to go immediately to the end of the argument, right? The end of the debate. And hear me out here. What he does is he tries to take the fact that Nazis are inherently bad, and anybody typically historically being called a Nazi would not like that, would like to combat that or defend that, right? So what he does is he tries to take that bullet out of your gun, so to speak, right? To take that away so you don't have that as ammunition. So if he's calling himself a Nazi, that's something you feel like, okay, well, I can't kind of go there because he doesn't seem to give a shit. But again, it's just a game that he's playing. The same thing with oh, you're a Hitler lover. He comes out and talks about Hitler all the time. So it's like, okay, you can't kind of combat him with that. He talks about hating Jews and all of the other. So it's like, obviously you're anti-Semitic. So he takes that off the fucking table. Well, now he's doing this whole, well, is it really pedophilia? You know, he's doing the whole Megyn Kelly that they're not 5 and 6 years old. Again, not to be true. Nothing that I've seen so far says anything like that is again, out of the realm of possibility as far as ages of victims are concerned. But again, he's doing the Megyn Kelly and saying, well, is it really pedophilia if they're only, 14, 15, 16? And he's got a few other instances here where not only is he selling Jeffrey Epstein style merch. Yes, you heard that correct. He is selling Jeffrey Epstein style merch. Let me throw that on the screen. So on the right-hand side, you'll see Jeffrey Epstein prominently featured in his, whatever you want to call it, sweater, sweatshirt, fucking jumper, whatever you want to say here, where his initials are featured in a very specific font, let's just say, on his upper left chest with the American flag on the sleeve there. Well, if you look to the right of Nick Fuentes and Sneeko, another bigoted, racist piece of shit, prominently featured in a recent video with Andrew Tate, or was it Andrew Tate's brother, Nick Fuentes, fucking some kid known as Clavicular or some bullshit, singing to Heil Hitler, the song from Ye, from Kanye West. So that's where you'll probably know him from if you recognize him. But look at the merch, and this is now on, or was when I kind of put this together, who knows if it is till now, everything changes so quick, was on Nick's website as far as merch. So it doesn't have Jeffrey Epstein's initials, but it does say USA. It's clearly the same fucking thing, same font with the same American flag on the armband, right? On the left sleeve there. So again, this is the person that Nate at Valhalla, this person that we looked at earlier, we look into his videos a lot just to kind of gauge the temperature. That's who he says he follows. He's a follower. He's an acolyte of America First, of Nick Fuentes. I do remember him calling out Fuentes. I forget what it was about. I don't know if it was maybe about Israel a couple months ago, maybe a month or two ago, but it was very soft. It wasn't anything bad. And oh no, excuse me, it was about Charlie Kirk. It was about the murder of Charlie Kirk, and Nick Fuentes was kind of towing the government line, and Nate wasn't happy about it. It's the last time that I've seen Nate kind of call anything out as far as Nick's comments. But let's dive into just a couple clips here. This one's 50 seconds, and these are all pretty short. Nothing really much to dive into as far as length is concerned here, considering he's about 4'2". See what I did there? Anyway, all right, let's dive into this and listen to what this fucking egregious little fucking piece of shit has to say. Here we go.
This whole pedo thing, it's like, is it really pedophilia? I don't want to be the one that has to say it, but I guess I'm being forced to say it. It's not really pedophilia, okay?
No, see, that's the thing, Nick. It just quite clearly is pedophilia, regardless of how you look at it or view. And again, this is the whole Groyper crew, and these are like the fucking, they pretend to be celibate, but it's really because they just can't get any chicks. They've never been laid. They don't know what the fucking touch or the feel of a woman actually feels like on their skin. So to them, it's like they're fucking desperate to a point you couldn't even fucking fathom. Right. So at that point, to Nick Fuentes, I'm sure, and I'm sure he's probably mentioned this, somebody underage to that extent is probably looking like a fine piece of meat to this asshole who's made it this far in his life without ever having fucking had the pleasure of feeling the touch or the caress of a woman. So again, that's probably why he's bringing this up at this point, because he knows the people that follow him. He knows the people that watch him. But again, how fucking ridiculous is it to say, and again, this is the whole Megyn Kelly defense, oh, they're not 5 and 6, so it's like not really pedophilia. No, it is. By law, by statute, fucking by society, what society says, absolutely. And we're not, we don't have to talk about the laws or whatever is in Arkansas, Kentucky, and I apologize, Arkansas, Kentucky, if you don't have them type of laws. But I know there are some states down in them southern areas that do have some fucking really lackadaisical laws about marriage and age and consent and shit, right? So, again, along the lines of who watches Nick Fuentes, you can tell who he's pandering to.
They weren't trafficking 5-year-olds. It was like they were technically not legal. Big difference.
No, what's another word for not legal? Would be illegal, right? I'm just spitballing here. Just spitballing, Nick. Follow me here. Another word for not legal would be illegal. Another word for illegal, right? And another like way you could describe illegal would be because they're underage. And like because they're underage, that's illegal. See how that works? It's like not legal, It's a crime, and that crime would be pedophilia. That crime would be a sexual assault against a minor. That's how we categorize that. That's what that would be. So again, I know who you're talking to. I know who you're playing to, but you do understand that other people are going to see this. And he does. He doesn't care to a large extent because, again, he feels like even as egregious and shitty and corrupt and sickening as he's being here, he's taking away to a large aspect like a talking point, ammunition coming from the left. Because he pretends not to give a shit. But come on. I mean, to what extent do you have to be fucking decrepit enough, right? Do you have to not have a soul to get in front of a camera and be like, well, it's technically illegal, but is 13 really pedophilia? You're like, yes, it is. It is, you sick prick.
In my opinion, I know that's a controversial take, but that's not really.
It's an insane take that you should be locked up for. That's what it is. You should be locked up for your thoughts. And I know that's not something we do here, but this is one moment I'm willing to kind of push a little bit of the laws and rules and regulations aside for these types of people. Your thoughts, if you're thinking that, and the fact that you just kind of, expounded upon that on your fucking show should be jail time. Should be jail time, if not the chair.
Issue there. Okay. The issue is not that they were barely legal teens, which is what it is. It's horrendous. It's awful. It's pedophilia. Okay, relax.
No, I won't fucking relax. And you wonder why you need security, right? You wonder why your fucking 4'6" ass, 109 pounds soaking wet with the suit on fucking ass has to have security. It's just, I don't know. It's becoming quite clear to me as to why all of these fucking MAGA commentators and all these fucking schmucks spend half of their fortune every year on security.
No, the issue is that Epstein is a Jewish spy.
Oh yeah, okay, right. And again, we don't have to dive into too much of that one. Here's another one. Here's another example of him just being fucking absolutely fucking horrific as it pertains to this, and actually calling Jeffrey Epstein based. Like there's clips that you could pull up from probably not even that long ago of him calling out Trump because of the Epstein files. And this is where he's at now. Well, let me throw this on the screen. My apologies. Here we go.
You got to be the villain. Epstein's my boy, dude. Let's just be honest. Epstein was cool as fuck. There, I said it. What are you going to do? Go ahead. Cancel me. Yeah, I said it. Jeffrey Epstein was cool as fuck. Now what? Go ahead. Cancel me. Do it. So sometimes we have to be the villain. Sometimes we have to be on a villain arc. That's okay. I'll be a little unpopular. I've been unpopular before. I like it better. Sometimes.
So again, he's playing the fucking role. He's playing the villain, and he's trying to take this all out of fucking whack for us and being like, well, again, I'm just going to go to the darkest, deepest fucking points, the most horrendous things I could possibly say, and that'll leave you nowhere to go, right? Even if you call me those things, even if you say I said those things, I'll just accept it. I don't give a shit, right? And I feel like this is Nick Fuentes realizing that he's never going to be fully mainstream. Because there was a point, and I believe that was actually a point of contention too for a lot of Nick Fuentes' acolytes, where he was going on, Piers Morgan. He was going on different fucking, mainstream media-esque podcasts and trying to tone down his rhetoric and kind of, obfuscate and walk around a lot of his Hitler talk and whatever that fuck it was. And a lot of his people, a lot of the followers called him out for it and being like, well, obviously you sound different. You're speaking differently on your show than you do on these other ones. You're trying to tone it down. You're trying to become more mainstream. And I believe this is Nick realizing in real time that he's never going to be mainstream. He's never going to be liked by the establishment, or what he would like to call the establishment, even though he's desperate to get involved. He's desperate to get a foot in there. The same fucking establishment, the same, deep state that these people fucking want to say they want to have burned, right, and drowned and, abolish the deep state or whatever the fuck they would kill to be a part of, right? The same reason, the same way that the small government crew is now fucking chomping at the bit to work for the big government that's going out there and perpetrating violence among the American people. That, the way the hypocrisy works in the mindset like that. Well, this is the same thing that he's doing now. I think he's just kind of going full speed ahead. He's realizing that he's never going to be mainstream. He's never going to be accepted like that. And what better way to get the clicks and, the attention, and then just to say the most horrendous, egregious, ridiculous, insane things and just try to own it as being the victim, as being the villain. Right. I think that's kind of a good summarization of what he's trying to pull off right now. You can tell here by the, again, as we show on the screen, he's trying to, you know what I mean? I like, at what point do you have to say, I like Jeffrey Epstein on camera, and then take it to a point where you're going to like mimic and recreate some of his clothing and sell on your merch site? I mean, that's like a whole different fucking level at that point. All right, let's dive on to this, because a lot of people speaking about this as well. All right, so this was Donald Trump, and we'll probably end on this clip today. After this, we'll thank some people for their contributions and get you guys out of here so you can contribute and watch other fabulous independent creators, hopefully on this platform or other platforms that you salute, contribute to, appreciate, whatever it is, because again, it is very important that, you know, even if you find your most valued time spent here at Blunt Politics, that we continuously support, get into chats, and, you know, thank other creators and other people that are up there speaking out as well. So I like to do my part and make sure that we're sharing the wealth here at Blunt Politics. So let's dive into this. Obviously, everybody kind of talking about this as far as, goes right in line with the Fulton County raid that we saw, what was it, last week or the week before, with the ultimatums and the quid pro quos that we saw coming from the Trump administration when it was, had to do with California, when it had to do with Minnesota, Oregon as well. A multitude of different places we could look at where they're trying to, Texas and the redistricting, their attempts to stop what was going on in California as well. A lot of these things are now falling in line, and it's looking very much like that Donald Trump and his administration, his regime, have something planned as far as midterms, because they know they're about to get fucking their asses whooped, right? They know they're about to fucking lose, and lose hugely, as Donald Trump would say. So they're trying to do anything that they can to combat this behind the scenes, stealing voter rolls, fucking threatening this, that, or the other thing if this isn't fucking produced. And again, what his statements here when he's on with Dan Bongino for restarting his podcast after leaving the old FBI as deputy director of the FBI because he couldn't handle what was going to happen with the Epstein files and the cover-up, you can be damn sure. All right, so he's willing to have Trump on just to boost the ratings, right? He's willing to have Trump on the first time just to have everybody out there, okay, I'm back. This is the I'm back. And listen to what Donald Trump said while he was speaking to Dan Bongino here.
Country to vote, and they vote illegally. And amazing that the Republicans aren't tougher on it. The Republicans should say, we want to take over. We should take over the voting in at least 15 places. The Republicans ought to nationalize the voting. And we have states that are so crooked, and they're counting votes. We have states that I won that show I didn't win. Now you're going to see something in Georgia where they were able to get with a court order.
See, he's referencing it himself. So it's clearly connected, not only in Donald Trump's mind, but in the actions that are being undertaken by the FBI, by the rest of these fucking three-letter agencies, trying to, again, reestablish or reignite the fight that was going on for the 2020 election that has been well fucking investigated, well established over and over and over again, court cases after court cases after court cases. I mean, look what it led to on January 6th. That's how fucking stifled they were. And they're still, or at least Donald Trump is still trying to relitigate that. And he's still trying to, behind the scenes, trying to impact or sway midterms, knowing that his fucking popularity right now is at the lowest that it's ever been.
The ballots, you're going to see some interesting things come out. But, like the 2020 election, I won that election by so much.
No, you didn't. You didn't. You didn't even win the last election by so much. You didn't even get a majority. You got a plurality. But again, Donald Trump wouldn't expect him to know the difference between a plurality and a majority. Just wouldn't know it.
Everybody does it. They put a woman in jail, Colorado. Put a woman in jail, a wonderful woman.
Is that Tina Peters? Who's he talking about? Tina Peters? That's the chick that fucking Mike Lindell was fucking hiding and shuffling around the country because she got her hands on some machines. I forget the extent of what she was involved in, but I believe he's talking about Tina Peters, if I'm not mistaken.
72 years old, had cancer because she was a voting.
No, she wasn't that old though. Was she that old? Was she 72? And where's he getting this fucking cancer? what?
Inspector. She was in charge of a voting area, and she saw boxes of votes come in. So she went over to check it, and they put her in jail for voter manipulation.
Wow. Okay. So again, we're just going back into the allegations that were already disproven, right? Are we going back into like Rudy Giuliani's bag and his fucking bullshit that he was coming out with? Are we going back to Sidney Powell? When does Hugo Chavez reappear? Right? When does the satellites that were in fucking Peru or Italy or whatever the fuck, when did they bounce off of Hugo Chavez's fucking dead corpse and then fucking reverberate back to the United States and somehow change the voting pattern or voter rolls to give it to the when did we get to back into that type of nonsense? I'm curious. Is that it? Is it the whole thing? Not playing? What's up with that? What's up with that?
And she's still in jail. And they better let her out fast. And they're suffering a big price, Colorado. They have this woman in jail who's 71 years old.
And she was just 72. She was just 72 years old. So somehow she's Benjamin Buttoning in prison. She's got cancer, but she's also going back in time. She's getting younger. She's got one of those weird cancer forms, weird forms of cancer where it just kind of it turns you into Benjamin Button. It's the Benjamin Button form of cancer, apparently.
Probably has cancer. She's sick.
Oh, now it's Jesus Christ. Now it's not even definitive. Now it's probably. Now it's a maybe. Now it's just she looked such like shit last time I saw her. It's just she might have had to have cancer, according to Donald Trump. He couldn't know. Maybe she just had the flu.
And they put her in because she challenged somebody that was dumping ballots into a box, okay? And
a fight?
They didn't put them in jail. This was during Biden's term.
They didn't put them in jail. I'm probably because they found out that the fucking idiot that you're talking about was completely mistaken on what she thought was like a box of ballots or whatever the fuck. I'm sure if this isn't completely and totally made up 100% on the spot right now on this podcast, that it's probably been investigated to some extent.
First president in history. And we had some bad ones. I mean, look, Barack Hussein Obama, I call him the Great Divider. Right. People couldn't stand him. You mentioned his name, they go crazy. They start booing the hell out of him. We had some.
How fucking long is this clip? Dan hasn't said a word.
Really bad ones. I mean, Jimmy Carter wasn't exactly the greatest.
Jimmy Carter. We get the fucking Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter didn't exactly have the hit.
No, it's not Gata. It's Carter with a C. You know, Callow. It's not Gallo. It's Callow.
On Venezuela that I remember his hits, they always turned out to be a disaster. Right. He went out, he had a hit, the helicopters were crashing into each other, the hostages and everything. That's why Ronald Reagan won the election. It was so pathetic. But we do it right. We've got the greatest military. I built the
military. Okay. This is another, we'll end on this because this is another big thing that I want you to pay attention to because he's talking about elections, right? He's talking about what happened in Fulton County as far as the raid. He's talking about the 2020 election. And then what does he bring up at the end of that, right? What does he go on to speak about as far as his control and what he rebuilt and how powerful it is, right? And how fucking subservient they are to him. What's he talking about now? The military. So again, why are all these things connected in Donald Trump's head? Why is the military related to elections? Why is the 2020 election related to the recent Fulton County raid? Why is the recent Fulton County raid related to his recent bad polling numbers? Why is the recent bad polling numbers related to what he's doing with ICE? Why is what he's doing with ICE having an effect on the entire population? And that's showing the GOP that they're going to get their fucking asses handed to them. They will be speaking out of their anuses when it comes time if things continue like this. And even if they don't through the midterms and in midterm elections, right? So just think about why the military might be connected with elections 2020. Again, this is Donald Trump's brain working here, so we have to try to decipher what the fucking connections are.
Military, you know that in my first term, I built the military, even though they gave a piece of it away, but it's a lot, but it's still a piece compared to what I built. We have the most powerful military, and my attack on Iran with, Operation Midnight Hammer, where we wiped out their nuclear threat, which they would have had a nuclear weapon within a month.
And now it's a month. It was a month. We were a month away. And I know fucking people like Benjamin Netanyahu have been saying that for about 25 years, but it really was a month this time. Really was a month. And again, try to justify your recent talks and movement of our troops and the ships around to, an area where they could attack Iran. And how you justify that against you already saying that you took out their capabilities. So what's next? What's going on there? What's doing on there? All right, so you don't have to watch any more of that, this horse shit, but you can see the plans and how they're all linked together in Donald Trump's head. Elections, military force, illegal fucking raids, going back to 2020, reliving the fucking, the attack on January 6th on the Capitol. Like this whole thing, all of it's fucking, he's trying to bring all of this back up. And it's all related in Donald Trump's head. And we have to figure out to what extent he's willing to kind of use the powers that he has, the powers that he's been given by appointing his sycophants in the right positions, by having people fucking cowed and pressured into, giving him the okay and giving him the yes where it shouldn't be given. But all right, let's get into thanking some people. I really do appreciate you guys. Good show for today. Thank you for sticking with me to the end, as you guys do. At the end of every show, we like to thank everybody that contributed to the show, whether financially or whether you hit a milestone, anybody that gave a super chat or a super sticker or anything like that. First and foremost, we like to go to the men of Vos, which is just an idiotic way for me to say Venmo. And we like to thank people on there. So I appreciate you guys. Let's get into thanking some people. First off is Roxanne. Thank you so much for the 10. Appreciate you. Shout out to you. Rox says, Slava Ukraina, Heroyam Slava. I appreciate you very much, Roxanne. Thank you so much for not only everything you do, but have been doing and will continue to do for this channel. Very much appreciated. That goes for Thomas. Oh, Thomas, thank you very much. Thomas just sent in, keep on preaching. Right back at you, Thomas. Thank you so much. Keep on getting involved. Keep on staying involved. And I know it's not just here at Blunt Politics. I'm not naive enough to believe that this is like the only place that you guys watch for news or anything like that. So I do absolutely extend my appreciation to you guys for staying involved in all these other channels and keeping these channels alive, because the more people we have speaking about this, the better. As Hal says, a rising tide lifts all boats. And I feel like I would be very lucky to find myself in a position where I could help lift a couple boats up with the rising tide myself. So I appreciate everybody that's helped us get this far, the mods, the chat. You guys have been fantastic, and let's continue this growth. So thank you, Thomas. Thank you very much, Roxanne. Thank you, Claudia. Next up, very much appreciate you. Claudia says, thanks, Brian. No, big thanks to you guys. Again, I don't deserve any thanks. It's you guys that make the shows possible, that make it so I'm not just sitting here talking to myself in front of a wall in a corner of a random room. That would be fantastic. So again, without your support, without you guys, viewing these shows, this is nothing. So a big thank you to you guys for making it happen. So Laurie, JD as well, V Sawyer for the last couple days. Just want to make sure everybody gets there. Thank you, Jenny Faye. Thank you so much again. Damon, Jeffrey, let's see here. Jesus, JD a bunch of times again. Let's see here. James, Yakov again. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, Kimberly. All of you guys have been fantastic over the last few days, so I want to make sure I continuously give a shout out and show support to you guys. So, all right, let's get into the old tubes of you. Again, in just a dumb way. I don't know why I keep saying it, but it is fun to say, to thank everybody here on YouTube. Thank you so much, Mark, for starting it off. I've been kicking it off first here on the last, I got to say, a bunch of shows. So I very much appreciate your contributions, your viewership. It has been very much noticed and appreciated over the last however long, Mark. So thank you very much. 2028 Bad Bunny for president. God, would that set off a firestorm. Holy shit. The fucking right would lose their lid. It would be crazy. Jordan T, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the 5. I believe mounting evidence suggests Bannon is QAnon. I mean, you're 100%. I wouldn't suggest that you're wrong by any stretch. I don't know, like, what piece, if we're referencing, like, the overwhelming references of pizza again. I'm not 100% sure what that's in reference to. But as far as Bannon being listed in the Epstein files, like, we're going to start calling this the fucking Trump Bannon Epstein files at some point, because that motherfucker is all over it. And again, I wouldn't put anything past these people, Jordan, at this point, knowing what we've heard, again, from the true or untrue or corroborated or uncorroborated statements of Sasha Riley, from the victim's testimony to the stories, the allegations that we've seen. I'm not ruling anything out at this point. But Jordan, very much appreciate your viewership. Very much appreciate your comment. Thank you so much. And we're going to continue to dive through this. So I'm sure if there's any more evidence to suggest that Bannon is a representative of any of these other affiliations or any of these other kind of, dark room behind the scenes practicing fucking groups, then we'll be sure to cover it. So Jordan, appreciate you very much. Thank you so much. Once again, to you, Jordan, again, appreciate you, buddy. GOP, guardians of pedophiles. Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. That's probably the one moniker that works best for that fucking crew. There's just no other way to put it. So, Jordan, big shout out to you. Thank you for those 2 chats. Thank you. Hope you have a great day as well. Bicycle Mike, what's up, brother? I hope you're well, man. I hope you're well. Hope you're good. Appreciate you watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your contributions. Mike says there must be punishment. Absolutely. Same thing we were saying on the Sunday show. This is a big fucking theatrical performance. This is all for naught, and it's even more damaging, I suspect, and I would fucking, I would go out on a limb and say it's more damaging for the victims, the people involved, the witnesses that were fucking forced to be in these places, the families of the victims. This is more damaging in my eyes and more frustrating, again, just in my opinion, than if we didn't have the information out there and didn't see accountability, than now knowing what we know and still not seeing the justice or accountability. I can't imagine how heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, and just traumatizing that would be for the for the women and the victims and the families of the victims that are going through this shit. So my heart's out to everybody involved. So Bicycle Mike, absolutely, you're 100% right. There must be punishment. Mark G's back at it. Appreciate you, brother. Newsmax equals news on crack. I don't know. I got to say, I'm just that's putting crack in a very bad light. I got to say, it's just very not fair to speak about crack like that. Newsmax is clearly much worse than any crack could possibly be, and there's just no crack out there that I'm aware of that would make you act as sycophantic and as eager to protect pedophiles as Newsmax and the rest of these fucking assholes are. So again, don't disparage crack like that. Let's be respectful. I appreciate you, Mark. No, I'm just fooling with you. Thank you for the 2. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, Michael Norris. Appreciate you, man, as well. Thank you for the $2.99. Brian has unlocked a profanity achievement. Was I going at it today? It's hard for me to tell. It's just, again, it's so second nature at this point. I can't even tell when I'm saying it. I just literally have to look in the chat and look for the bonuses. And I'm like, okay, I'm swearing too much. I should back it down. But Michael, I appreciate you, dude. Thank you so much. Hope you have a great day. And thank you for your contributions again. Thank you, Rocks, for the 5 gifted memberships. Very much appreciated. And thank you so much for keeping that chat a safe place. Very much appreciate your services as well as your contributions. It's always good to see the mods getting involved as well. So very much appreciated. Thank you again to Jordan. Big night for Jordan. Let's go. Nut Lake is the name of Musk's circle jerk parties. Jesus. Oh, you guys crack me up. I like it. Does that mean Big Balls is invited too? Don't forget Big Balls. Come on, Jordan. Don't forget Big Balls. Oh, that could have been in there. That could have made that super chat just that much better. But I appreciate you. Thank you so much for, I believe, the Aussie 5, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's what that is. So I appreciate you, Jordan. Thank you so much. Thank you, Just Saying, for the 5 more swearing, please. I love you guys. I knew I found a home in a family that I belonged in when you guys were appreciative of the swearing and wanted more. So I knew I had built a fine community when that ad started. So I appreciate you, Just Saying, for not only the 5, but for the gifted membership as well. Thank you, JD, for the 5, as well as Ruben Michaels. Very much appreciate you too. Thank you, Mark, for the 5. Again, great show again. Just remember, vote and keep hope. Absolutely, Mark. Second that on all regards. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you, Ruben, for the 5 as well. Trump Epstein cover-up just doesn't get any more blatant than it does, right? Than it has been, Ruben, excuse me. You're 100% right. It's just the cover-up now has gotten so fucking blatant and so, clearly spotted that, it's a mystery to me as to how they think they're getting out of this or how they think it's going to end with another 3 years to spend in fucking office. I really don't know. So thank you, Ruben. Thank you, Mark. Again, appreciate you for the 1 gifted. Thank you, Vinny. Thanks to you. I bought 1 life pack for Ukraine. Wish I had Musk money. Oh, you're the best, dude. Thank you guys so much. I very much appreciate that, Vinny, for doing what you're doing. Thank you for hopping up like that, stepping up to the plate, knocking it out of the park, as you guys always do, whether it takes, whether it's contributing here at Blunt Politics or for these other, things that we're involved in, whether it be this campaign, again, just to further, illustrate how awesome you guys have been. We are now over 40% of the way done on our campaign. We have now raised over 8,856 euro towards our 20,500 euro goal. So we're almost 50% of the way there. We're almost halfway there, guys. So please, again, I know not everybody or even most people or even a few people are in the financial position to actually, contribute to a certain extent. But if you could just share this out, if you could show, different people that you have heard talk about Ukraine, or maybe somebody that that has deeper pockets or is a little bit well off, whatever it may be, that could make a difference. Please share this out. And you guys just doing that is as much involvement as I could possibly hope for. right? Again, I know in a scary time like this, in a time where the economy is terrible, having to rely on contributors, contributions, funny way to put it, is just, it's not ideal. But again, these are extremely important times, extremely important fucking policies, and extremely important situations that we're trying to combat, trying to get involved in. And again, it's just only with the help of you guys that we can do so. So please, we're just about to 10,000 euro, which is going to be a sight to behold. I really didn't think that, we could be able to affect a change or affect some, affect a fundraising campaign at this extent to the, at this time rate. I thought it would take us a considerable amount of time to get this done, but I am just so blessed and so pleased and so fortunate to have not only the chat and the mods that we have here who are promoting this and contributing to it, but also the family and friends that are so very appreciative and supportive of what we do here. So thank you guys. I really do appreciate it. I'll let you guys go now. Make sure you support other independent creators. I implore you, please go out there. If it's not me that gives you the most bang for your buck, whatever creator does, make sure you're supporting them to the most that you possibly can. But if it is me that gives you the most bang for your buck, please think about signing up for the Patreon or for a YouTube membership, donating to the Venmo, a buck or two, buy me a Powerade, whatever it is. I don't ask for much. Anything above $1 or $2 is totally 100% up to you. All I ask for is a buck or two, if you possibly can. So if you can, I love you. I appreciate you. If you can't, I love you and I appreciate you. No difference here. Nobody's getting judged or anything like that. If you show up, you watch, if you're engaged, I can't thank you enough for doing so. So please contribute here at help99.co/patches/Boston Brian. Takes you right to our campaign. And again, a $5, a $10, $100 or more gets you our patch, which is the one right here in the middle, which is, I think, the most badass patch on the entire fucking site for any campaign here, right here in the middle. So again, that'll get you the patch. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to let you go. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to the best chat on the internet, on social media. Can't thank you enough. And I'll see you tomorrow for the doubleheader. We're going to dive more into what's been taking place in Ukraine, probably tomorrow night. So we'll be diving more into that. I know we've been diving deeply into what's been taking place in this country through the Epstein files and other, ICE actions as well. But we'll be diving more into what's been taking place in Ukraine tomorrow. So stick around. We got our 1 o'clock show tomorrow, going to be featured on this space. This space is doing a subscriber push over there. We're really looking for people to head over to this space, which we are kind of simulcast on Wednesdays on the early show, and sign up, subscribe over there. They have a great fucking coalition going, a great thing being built. They're doing it the right way. They're not making money from it. And now is a great opportunity to support these other fantastic channels in this space run by Matt over there at the Letter Hack, featuring a multitude of different great creators, including yours truly. So head over there if you could. I know they're doing I think they're doing like if I'm not mistaken, a whole little live stream action trying to get that subscriber push doing. So head over there. They're probably live. So I appreciate you guys. And I'll send you off now. All right. I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics. Stay loud, stay proud, stay aggressive. Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck ICE. Fuck Putin. Slava Ukraine. Fucking keep your head in a swivel out there if you're going out to protest. Make sure you're staying safe. Make sure you have an exit route. Make sure you have friends, family, supporters around you to make sure you can stay safe as possible. So I appreciate you, everybody getting out in the streets, everybody staying loud, staying proud, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the doubleheader. All right. Thanks, guys. Very much appreciated for your involvement, for your passion, for your generosity, all of it. I can't thank you guys enough, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Very much appreciated. Peace, guys. And just remember, 0 of the information on this exit video is correct. I'm only playing it because I like the song. None of the information is correct. I repeat, 0 of the information is correct. Definitely not the notch. Look at that. Not notch. Repeat, it is not notch.
uphill, me boys. Never fight uphill. They were fighting uphill. He said, wow, that was a big mistake. He lost his great general. And they were fighting. Never fight uphill, me boys. But it was too late. Gettysburg, what an unbelievable battle that was. The Battle of Gettysburg, what an unbelievable, I mean, it was so much and so interesting and so vicious and horrible and so beautiful in so many different ways. It represented such a big portion of the success of this country. Gettysburg, wow. I go to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to look and to watch. Army manned the air. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
Go fuck yourself.
Referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. For the rest of my life, I have the curse that I have little hands.
Here you got a little chubby going there.
What in the hell was that all about? He says rectum damn near killed him. Taking it back to Nevada where he's wanted for banging horses.
We're a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat
I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. When you ran out the healthy arms, you ran out of really healthy. They had great arms, but they ran out. It's called sports. It's called baseball in particular, and pitchers, I guess you could say, in really particular. What uranium is, right? This thing called nuclear weapons and other things, like lots of things are done with uranium, including some bad things.
Always calling me Little Marco. And I'll admit, the guy, he's taller than me, he's like 6'2", which is why I don't understand why his hands are the size of someone who's 5'2".
You'll have a group of Venezuelan killers, street gangs, occupying the town with MK-47s. I know that gun very well. I got to know it. I've become they're just getting acclimated. You know what that means, acclimated? We've endorsed JP, right? JD Mandel, and he's doing great.
It feels so lovely to be here tonight. What a beautiful life. Give yourselves a round of applause. It's so lovely. Everyone's so lovely.
Man, I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe.
Get off my plane.
Bad news, bad news. Even when it's good news, it's bad news.
Cacophony. A crescendo. Finale. A coup de grace. I'm just an average guy who read public documents where the elite said they were going to enslave us and destroy America, and I'm not going to be like yuppie scum and deny the threat to my country. I'm going to fight back.
This week it was reported that an illegal and you just look at this, what's happening.
Brian, you're drunk. You're drunk.
We will once again be fighting for our freedom. Debate. If we didn't have a debate, he'd still be there. Can you imagine if we didn't have a debate? Why the hell did I debate him?
Later, guys. Have a good day. Very much appreciate it.
The big, fat, sloppy United States.